Happy Wednesday, everybody. Sorry I'm a bit late. I had a call that was running a little bit behind, but we are here now. We have a lot to, as we always do, as we always do. We have a lot to talk about today, my friends. I meant to go over an article that was sent to me yesterday about Ryan Reynolds. I had not heard about this, so we're going to go over it today. Ryan Reynolds apparently, allegedly, used a photographer to promote his company, Aviation Gin, for 6 years and apparently paid her nothing. What? How did I miss that? So we are going to go over that. We are going to deal with the new filing with Bryan Freedman as well. So it's not a long one, it's a shorter one, but I think it just really goes to show that Ryan and Blake played with fire when they put on the docket, like when Ryan Reynolds inserted himself into the docket again. They just couldn't help themselves. They genuinely could not help themselves after seeing the deposition transcripts unsealed for Steve Sarowitz. So Ryan had to get his name back on the docket, and Bryan Freedman responded, but it is a short, I think it's only like 4 pages. We'll go over that. And guys, we need to deal with Jeremy Renner's accuser, Yi Zhou. We're going to look at her as well, because this morning it was sent to me that she was sued for SH. Yeah. So we have a 26-page Superior Court of the State of California lawsuit between Anthony Simone and Yi Zhou that we are going to look at today. So that was just sent to me like not even an hour ago. I haven't even looked at it much, but we will go through it today. And actually, let's start there. No, let's start with Ryan Reynolds because that's a quick one. Let's do Ryan Reynolds first. How are you guys doing? It's nice to see everyone. Hello, hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Yes, please like the stream, my friends. Like the stream, subscribe. Okay, let's have a look here. I haven't gone through this yet. This was an article that was sent to me. Ryan Reynolds used a photographer to promote his company, Aviation Gin, for 6 years and allegedly paid her nothing. This was just October 25th. I can't believe that. Well, no, actually, that's a lie. I was going to say, I can't believe this didn't gain more traction, but of course I can, because when you're Ryan Reynolds, you can get stories killed. That's what happens. You can get stories that were going to be released, just never see the light of day. So it, as much as it does shock me as like a human, as someone that spent 15 years in branding, marketing, PR, I'm also like, well, no, it's not actually super surprising. Now it says here, Marilyn Starkloff lawsuit. I mispronounce names. I mean, it's just, you got to deal with it. I get so many messages of like, you said this person's name wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it happens. Marilyn Starkloff lawsuit shows a talented and trusting young artist who was repeatedly exploited to help boost Aviation Gin's valuation prior to and after its sale for $610 million. So it says here, for years, Ryan Reynolds has enjoyed the protection of an impenetrable suit of PR armor. He sure has. And that's something I've been talking about a lot lately. And I have a pre-recorded video that's going up later tonight in regards to Sydney Sweeney and the shift in where PR is going. And especially in 2026, this shit of like building fake brands around this false illusion, this idea of what you want the public to see you as, this isn't going to last. This is something that's going to fall very quickly. And it's becoming more and more obvious, I think, for a lot of people, that Ryan Reynolds, who Ryan Reynolds is in front of the camera, is not who he is in real life. And, shout out to, oh my gosh, Martha Stewart, who did that interview and said, he's not actually really funny at all. So here it says, frequently described by legacy media outlets as funny, self-deprecating, charming, handsome, and even a marketing genius, the Hollywood actor turned celebrity influencer and advertiser has never truly faced meaningful scrutiny, which is true. Even when there are grumblings from the public about the incessant auditory onslaught of his mobile ads delivered in a slithering, sardonic hiss coming somewhere from within his sinuses that is as grating as it is inescapable, his public image is still overwhelmingly positive. And we've talked about that. That all changed when his wife, Blake Lively, and say his has changed slightly, but he's still very relevant in the industry and very protected. That all changed when his wife, Blake Lively, published an article in the New York Times accusing director and co-star Justin Baldoni and 3 other men, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarwitz, and Adam Monchen, of sexual harassment during the production of the film It Ends With Us. After Baldoni, Heath, and Sarwitz production company Wayfair sued New York Times for defamation, Lively filed a lawsuit against Baldoni and Wayfair. Wayfair countersued for defamation and civil extortion against Lively and Reynolds. At first, Reynolds managed to evade scrutiny and criticism, as most of it was directed at either his wife or Baldoni. See, and this is why it was such a bad move, again, to insert himself in the docket. It was such a... This is the problem with narcissists. This is the problem with people like him and Blake. They cannot help themselves. They saw their names in the unredacted Steve Sarwitz filing, and they just could not help themselves in hitting back. It was a bad PR move. So it says, but as the lawsuit stretched on and the discovery process kicked into high gear, Reynolds started playing his hand hard, too hard enough for the culpability to no longer be swept under the rug of carefully crafted PR spin and bought and paid for entertainment media outlets. Yep. 3 things soon became evident. 1, that Lively's SH claims were false. 2, that they were likely made to conceal Lively and Reynolds' hostile takeover of the film that resulted in, of course, an unearned PGA credit for Lively. Have you guys seen this article? How did this article go under the radar? Had it not been sent to me, I would have never seen it. But call it like it is, Medium. And 3, that the true crux of the legal conflict was thanks to the couple's ego, unable to handle the outpouring of public criticism for their botched promotional tour of the film in August 2024. But it's Reynolds' tight-gripped fingerprints that are starting to leave a stronger impression on the case than Lively's. It was his marketing company, Maximum Effort, that was responsible for the widely panned decision to hawk Lively's Betty Buzz brand during the It Ends With Us promotional tour. As we will later see, this fits with a long and well-established pattern with Reynolds' other marketing decisions. All right. So we won't go through every word of this. It's a great article. It's on Medium, but it talks about how she went after 107 content creators, which requested invasive data. I was one of those. For those that are newer to the channel, I was one of those creators. They were intended to financially burden, harass, and intimidate online commentators from speaking critically about Lively's lawsuit. They talk about the shell company Van Zandt. I know a lot of people have said, why is no one talking about it? Because stories get killed, guys. When my channel came under attack, it wasn't because of covering Charlie Kirk. That's not what triggered my channel coming under attack. I uploaded a video about Van Zandt, and it immediately put a flag on my account. And since then, it just came off, was it yesterday, I think? I had a flag on my account internally that was saying they were cleaning up my account to protect the community, to protect you, to protect YouTube viewers from my account. And it all started, the first video that got reported was the Van Zandt one. And then it was like, I'd go into my YouTube dashboard, and every time I went in, a new video was being demonetized. So the reality is that stories get killed all the time. Whether it's, and when you're a big star like Taylor Swift, articles get killed. I know about documentaries because I work with big time public figures that were supposed to come out in 2025 that never saw the light of day because they were killed. Not people, but the stories, the documentaries, because they are big names and money talks and shit gets axed. Because you also don't want to piss off, and we've talked about this previously, companies such as WME. You piss off WME by putting out a hit piece on one of their clients. Well, now you get cut off from everyone within WME. So that's a big risk as well. So when we look at why people aren't calling out Van Zandt, likely because stories are getting axed before they ever hit. And it appears that Blake and Ryan's teams are attacking and going after any content that's made about them. And I had spoken about this previously, that I can't afford for my entire channel to be demonetized. And that's just a reality. And people, people that judge that and they say to content creators, well, like, you should be talking out about it and you should be doing X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, who's paying the bills then? Like, at the end of the day, who's paying the bills? If the entire channel gets demonetized or if the channel gets taken down because Blake and Ryan are children and they can't deal with their behavior being exposed, right? So anyway, that's why you see a lot of like hush hush around Van Zandt, because those stories just never see the light of day. So if Reynolds thought that asserting an obsessive degree of control over the lawsuit would help mask his involvement, only achieved the opposite. The public had questions for more than the ones raised in August 2024. Oh my gosh, Not Actually Golden is mentioned in here. I'm going to have to let Not Actually Golden know. I don't know if she realizes it. Looking for leads, stumbling on a surprise settlement. US-based lawyer and TikToker Not Actually Golden is one of many content creators following the Lively case. She often explains more complex or obscure legal concepts. In February of this year, NAG was the first to uncover crucial information about Ryan Reynolds' legal past, partly by accident. So randomly this morning, I'm on Pacer looking up something else, and I decided to check to see if Ryan Reynolds has ever been sued for discrimination. She begins in her video. So I did a search on Pacer for Ryan Reynolds' name, and I never got to the discrimination because I stopped at something else. Well, I didn't realize that she's the one that uncovered this. What? Am I the only one that this was published in October? Am I the only one that didn't know about this? Like literally like 3 weeks ago. Says here that something else was a little known lawsuit called Starkloff versus Aviation Gin. It was initiated by Florida-based photographer Marilyn against Reynolds and his alcohol company Aviation American Gin on November 1st, 2024. This thing was filed, served, and settled in 6 days. Wow. So NAG says literally the entire docket. I must have missed this video of hers on this. She produces a lot of content though. I don't know how she does it. As an aside, she has like 2 to 3 videos a day. I don't know how she does it. So literally the entire docket is complaint, summons, notice of settlement, closed. Reynolds and Aviation didn't even have a lawyer appear for them. What? I think they got the complaint, picked up the phone and called her and said, how much does the check need to be for? Pretty much how it goes. NAG's main takeaway from the complaint, aside from the speed with which it was settled, was Starkloff's claim that Ryan Reynolds and Aviation engaged in evidence spoliation. Oh, that's rich. That's rich. Right? Like Blake and Ryan crying about spoliation while they're doing it. So ridiculous. Since this was in line with the pattern behavior that was emerging about Lively and Reynolds in their case against Baldoni and Wayfair. They say the same thing, wherein Lively allegedly asked pop superstar and former best friend Taylor Swift to delete text messages between them relating to the case. No one thought to dive deeper, even though NAG encouraged people to look if they wanted to. It also probably didn't help that Starkloff's claim is only available on Pacer, which charges fees for searches and retrieved documents, and not on Court Listener, which is free, where the majority of the Lively case filings are held. Oh yeah, I don't pay for shit. Like, I'm not going to Pacer. I don't know how some people afford, like, that can go to the farm animal sanctuary, the money that would go to Pacer. But there you go. Which goes in line, if they've done spoliation before, it goes in line with Blake Lively asking Taylor to delete text messages. I'm going to be honest, I still think that Taylor Swift knows a lot more than she's claiming. I still think she knows a lot more and she saved herself. I've seen people say online that, well, Taylor, she does the right thing. She left a friend when it turns out that Blake is a certain type of person. It's like, she knew. Don't come. Really? What kind of Kool-Aid you been drinking? She knew. And in fact, on the channel, we have channel members that are linked to the Chiefs. I'm not going to say how or any of that, but Taylor knew. Let's just say, not necessarily, I'm not claiming that she knew in regards to the It Ends With Us stuff, but she knew who Blake was, is what I'm saying. She knew the kind of person Blake was. And she was also warned about the kind of person Blake was. So your best friend and you don't tell her anything? Bullshit. I don't buy it for a second. And what did Taylor say in her song? Which I actually like the song. I know it's bad to say that. But that canceled song, when she's saying it, it's like basically she gets pissed at her friends for not doing a better job. They do a better job covering it up. Do a better job not getting caught. So that doesn't surprise me now. So it looks like that's kind of their MO, is they have people delete shit, or they delete shit. So it makes sense that potentially, allegedly, they had asked Taylor to. Okay, so as it turns out, a few payments to Pacer are more than worth it to find out how much more there is to this story. Oh my gosh. This is wild. Don't worry, guys. We're going to go through it. Where was I? Okay, so you need to establish the context and period in which her interactions with Reynolds and Aviation Gin began. Reynolds wasn't always the ever-present power player he is now. In fact, he was a frequent box office flop. I literally just said that. So I recorded a video just this morning. And again, talking about the Sydney Sweeney controversy and everything. And I said, you know, if Hollywood's behind you, it doesn't matter how much controversy you have. And I talk about Ryan Reynolds. Like, this guy was a box office flop until Deadpool. That is up until that point. And he was problematic on set. You see that from was it Boltneck, his first movie? So it says, no, it's not only Green Lantern that flopped. Reynolds has several notable flops under his belt. He simply chose to not draw attention to those. In 2016, Deadpool movie was a massive boon for Reynolds, which it is. For years, he denied outright responsibility for intentionally leaking the Deadpool footage. We all know that he finally admitted it. We've played it on the channel in that, is it Variety that does the lie detector thing? He finally admitted it with Hugh Jackman, but he's denied it. People have said for a long time he was the one that did it. So this pattern of acting first, asking for permission later. Yep. I want to know who leaked the story. Like, was it literally just someone that saw Nag's video? I find it hard to believe. I feel like someone leaked the story, or someone, like, at least let someone know about the story. So the pattern of acting first, asking for permission later, particularly with regard to using coercive tactics and skirting the boundaries of the law, is one we see again and again. Leaking the footage was only one part of his Deadpool guerrilla marketing campaign to pressure both the studio and audiences to support it. I've accused him of that in the past. That's what they do. And I use the comparison between Blake Lively and what she did with It Ends With Us and what Ryan traditionally had done in his movies. He doesn't specify what additional methods were used, but whatever they were, they paid off handsomely. The film's budget was a meager $58 million, yet raked in $782 million. He says, I've never taken ownership like that before. I wonder where maybe Blake meant to say authorship or ownership, but she said authorship. Maybe she was trying to take Ryan's words and said the wrong word. I mean, it would be a total Blake thing to do, say the wrong word. Reynolds said in 2016, after the success of the movie, I can channel this guy Deadpool in a way I can't seem to channel anything else. It's a taste of ownership that he seems to have grown quite accustomed to. The director, Tim Miller, who worked closely with Reynolds to bring Deadpool to scene, only made $225K for his director's salary despite years of work. He was later forced out of the franchise during the sequel due to Ryan Reynolds' desire for total creative control in what is indisputably an acrimonious split. We've covered that. We've covered TJ Miller as well, how he spoke out about Ryan and then retracted it. Basically released a statement like the one that Justin was given. All right. Regardless of ethics or legality, the creative heist worked. The Deadpool franchise was his. If Deadpool transformed Reynolds into a middling actor with a flip of a coin success rate to a bona fide comic book anti-hero superstar, his company Maximum Effort transformed him, yet another run-of-the-mill celebrity influencer, to advertising heavyweight in the marketing world. And I will say he's done a very good job of tying Maximum Effort in to any deals he takes on. So you'll see him, for example, if he buys a sports team, Maximum Effort takes over the marketing for it. And so it appears to be whenever he takes on jobs, Maximum Effort comes along for the ride and does the marketing. And we even see it ends with us, right? At the end of the day, we even see it ends with us because well, I say he, but I guess it's Blake. But I am convinced it was actually Ryan Reynolds texting through Blake's phone. That is a hill I'm willing to die on. We see that Blake had said, Maximum Effort will take over for it. We'll weed out any lame ideas. We're basically the mafia. And Justin said, yeah, this is not a hill I'm going to die on. Whatever, to what you want, basically. Founded in 2018 with co-founder George Dewey, the sole purpose of Maximum Effort was to promote Deadpool, but its purpose expanded quickly. So him and George, my co-founder Maximum Effort, started marketing with the Deadpool films and having fun with it without giving away pieces of the film. It turned out to be really successful. I then used some of that sweet Deadpool money to buy Aviation Gin, and I needed to market that. So we inadvertently became a marketing company. I feel like he had it planned. But okay, cute. Make it seem more relatable, Ryan. That's your brand, right? The funny jester. I didn't know what I was doing. Bullshit. Bullshit. All right. So Aviation Gin. The brand was founded in 2006 and a collaboration between bartender Ryan Megarian and Christian, I hate saying names, Krogstad, co-founder of Portland-based House Spirits Distillery. The brand was first acquired by spirits and conglomerate Davos Brands in 2016. Reynolds expressed interest in the brand that same year and formally got involved 2 years later when he purchased an ownership stake in February 2018. His official backstory was acquiring the company. His official backstory for acquiring the company, well, hard to believe as factual given his propensity for pursuing marketability over candor in his PR narratives. Thank you. Is at least consistent that during the filming of Deadpool, he visited local Vancouver bars after shooting wrapped each day and kept coming back to a certain gin-based cocktail that contained the brand. This is what I'm saying. This is what I said in the video that I pre-recorded. It's all fake PR with him. And you guys get to decide because the public right now can't fucking decide. Either people want someone to be honest and be true to who they are and only apologize when they're actually sorry, or you get people that are fake as shit and they're just pulling the wool over your eyes to sell seats and make more money. Like, you get to choose. And right now the public is dragging people for both situations. And so there's like this creation of the situation where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because no matter what, the public's going to drag you for something. It's just, we need to choose at the end of the day. Do we want people to be authentic? Do we want authentic brands, or are we supporting shit like this because he's such an asshole? All right. So they talk about the cocktail. It says the name of the cocktail. Well, for a man who got married on a slave plantation next to slave cabins on Slave Street, oh my gosh, named one of his shell companies after said plantation, and who secretly helped his wife write for antebellum-themed lifestyle company Preserve, Ryan Reynolds managed to select the most linguistically unfortunate drink as a reason for interest in Aviation Gin, Negroni. I mean, all right, so Reynolds credits the gin cocktails the hook that spurred his interest. So it says, either way, what might be more important is that I want to know who leaked this article, because there is no way this was just out of like curiosity that this came to be. Either way, what might be more important is that Reynolds also became a creative director for Aviation Gin. When he came on board, the company had already spent a decade selling and managing the brand. As such, Reynolds didn't wipe the state clean, but instead seems to have inherited some of the staff who already had expertise in marketing aviation. And that included senior brand manager Adrian Molina. And this is a prominent figure in Starkloff's lawsuit. And we will soon see why. Dun, dun, dun. The deep dive begins. We're just starting the deep dive. I originally started with this first because, like, how long could this be? How long could this be? Apparently it's, a book. The deep dive begins. Starkloff versus Aviation Gin LLC. The following information is compiled from Starkloff's complaint, available on Pacer, publicly available information on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, and relevant interviews and media coverage that relates to them. Marilyn's story with Aviation Gin begins in December 2018, 10 months after Reynolds acquired ownership of the company. At the time, Starkloff was not a professional photographer, but a hobbyist in her 20s who liked taking photos for her own enjoyment. On December 20th, she uploaded a photo from her Christmas-themed photo shoot where she staged a bottle of Aviation Gin next to a cocktail glass with a candy cane in it. According to Starkloff, the official Aviation Gin Instagram reposted her photo the next day. They credited her in the caption, but didn't ask permission to post it on their page. Oh, Blake and Ryan not ask for permission? Shocking. All right, so it shows Marilyn here and the original post. And then the repost on the right. That is a great picture. So it's redacted. Do you work for them, Marilyn? And she says, nah, I just have fun photographing it and drinking it. To non-artists, this may seem like a problem, but it's actually a significant one, or it may not seem like a problem, but it's a significant one. Prior to Elon Musk renaming Twitter's retweet function, a repost was well understood to mean a kind of social media theft that involves lifting content for a person's post and uploading it in a separate post, typically without proper attribution of the original poster. Even with the proper credit, the act of reposting rather than sharing the original post denies visibility, engagement, and potential income to the original poster by directing it all to the reposter instead. Well, it sounds about right. That's on brand for Ryan. To underscore this harm, Aviation Gin's post got 5,119 likes, whereas Starkloff's original post only got 50 likes. Worse, Aviation's caption, which read in part, finally found a good use for candy canes, implied the photo was Aviation's idea. Stealing. They are stealers that steal. Assholes. It is just who they are. Well, Starkloff states in her lawsuit that this was the start of a pattern of Aviation Gin harming her by taking her work and using it for free. At the time, she instead chose to focus on the positive aspect, that she got the brand's attention. For better or worse, is a common reaction for up-and-coming artists. This was especially true during the golden age of Twitter and other social media platforms. Agree. Starkloff next took a New Year's themed Aviation Gin photo about a week later with a festive hat, bottle of Aviation Gin, and a lit sparkler leaning inside a martini. Oh my God, they reposted it again. This time, Aviation Gin's senior brand manager, Adrian Molina, reached out to her via the official Aviation Gin Instagram account and asked for permission to repost it. She agreed. That's another great picture. So we have here her original Instagram post and then the repost on the right. And it's all just redacted, people saying cool and heart emojis. Interestingly, in his recounting of these two events, Molina combines them into one. In a 2020 podcast interview, he confirms that Aviation Gin's first interaction with her was when she uploaded the candy cane photo. However, in his version of events, he says he asked for permission to share it. I feel like there'd be proof of that. But here's the thing. What's proof? What's evidence to Blake and Ryan? Wow. Like, produce text messages, produce DMs showing that you asked for both. Maybe we will see that there were text messages or DMs where he asked for both. But, I feel like if there were, she wouldn't be sitting here saying, no, they did not ask me for permission. As we will see, interviews like this will be crucial in understanding Aviation Gin's views on Starkloff, the value of her work, and the nature of the relationship they wanted from her. The insights Molina inadvertently share in them dovetail with the details included in Starkloff's legal complaint, which features numerous written conversations between Molina and her over the years. It's immediately obvious in writing the messages that Aviation Gin knew they had hit the jackpot with her. She was eager, incredibly talented, responsive and timely, and staunchly loyal to the brand. Perhaps most important to Aviation Gin, however, was her business experience as a freelance photographer. Yeah. They'll just use who they can. Use whoever meets their needs. Steal from whoever they need to. steamroll whoever they need to. I mean, I have a video that's literally titled Ryan Reynolds' Path of Destruction. And if I was to update it now, I feel like it'd be a 7-hour video because that was earlier this year. And all of the things that have come out, situations like this, that video would be like 7 hours, that expose. But I do have literally a video called Ryan Reynolds' Path of Destruction because of shit like this. All right. So a few weeks after New Year's photo repost, Melina reached out to Starkloff again. So Aviation Gin brand manager reached out to her between January 15th and 19th, 2019. Melina messaged Starkloff to praise her work, offer her bottles of Aviation Gin, and even said that he would love to give her a bigger platform on AAG, Aviation American Gin. A month later, on February 15th, Melina told her that he would dig in the calendar and get you on some paid projects. You have talent for sure. He also offered to help her with her portfolio and act as a reference. See, this is the thing. I'm going to tell you guys something. This is a problem overall in Hollywood. I'm going to give you guys some tea from behind the scenes. So I keep to myself. Like, I work with public figures, but I don't promote who I work with. I could have a client that reaches out and like, can you send me your client list? I won't, because I don't give a shit. Like, either you want to work with me or not. I like my quiet life. Yes, I like helping people with branding and marketing. I do one day want to purchase a much larger facility to be able to help more animals. Absolutely. But this is the shit that goes on. I can't tell you the amount of times I've had people reach out and be like, well, okay, I'm not going to pay you that. Like, big names. I'm not going to pay you that, but I can connect you with so-and-so, and I could be a reference from that for this person. And I might have some more projects coming up, and we can also hire you for that one. This is the shit that goes on. And I just laugh because it's like, one, I don't care. Some of the contracts I've turned down will blow your guys' minds. Where I'm like, I don't care. I don't care who you are. No. But this is what goes on. And this is what they'll say to you. Like, either not pay you or pay you a lot less than what your fees are. But they try to trade this. And I work on your farm for free. I was like, I'll work on the farm for free. Yeah. So this goes on. So it does not surprise me. This is what has happened because it's happened to me. And I've had big names go back and forth with me trying to negotiate. And I just stand firm. I'm like, no. And you get the energy of like, but do you know who I am? I'm like, yeah, I do. And no. And it's actually quite shocking sometimes when you see people have never been told no, be told no. But anyway, that's from my like behind the scenes having these conversations with people that think you're a smaller name, but like, you know, your shit and that they can steamroll you. This happens all the time. I'm not going to pay your fees, like what you're asking of me, but I have more projects coming up, maybe potentially. And if we do, we'll hire you or we'll act as a reference and we'll connect you to this person and that person. No. Yeah. That's the price, bitches. Yeah. That's the price. Sorry, we have so much to go through, guys. I know I'm not in the chat as much today, but yes, that is a price and that is a price. And so I'm just, highlighting that this is exactly what goes on. So I believe Starkloff. I believe her version of events. So she says, it just makes me excited enough being featured. See, and this is what they hope you say. I'm just excited enough to work with you. I'm just excited enough to be connected to you. The stuff I've been offered, and I was like, no, it's cool. We'll fly you here. No, it's cool. I have a farm. Ashley is Princess Leia brings down Death Star. I love it. Some of the trips I've been offered, come meet us here. Nope. I have a farm to take care of. Who's going to take care of my animals? I'm not flying out. I don't care who you are. But this is what they're hoping you say, which is what Starkloff said. It just makes me excited enough to be featured. She said, I'm just trying to learn, and I never realized how fun product photography would be. So used to people. That's what they hope. Here we see that whatever misgivings Starkloff may have had about having her work reposted was superseded by her excitement at being recognized by the brand she cared so much about. This is the industry, though. Like, this is how sketchy the industry is. The shock I get. I'll never forget. Um, I one email stands out recently, and so I don't take on a lot of clients anymore. I like creating courses because I have more freedom, gives me a chance to hang out with you guys. And so I sent my fees and they come, they come back after a couple days. And they go, sorry, it took so long. We were just kind of in shock over the fees. We were expecting this amount. And it's like a fraction of what I charge. And they go, well, this person does it for this price. I said, that person doesn't do what I do. That's not, you're comparing apples to oranges. You can't compare that. And so they come back, they're like, okay, well, we'll go up a little bit more. It's like, no, no. Either you want it full price or not. And some people say yes, and some people say no, and that's okay because I really don't care. All right, so here's some messages. January 15th to 19th, 2019. This is between the brand manager at Aviation Gin and Starkloff, who is the photographer. Adrian says, what, you crazy? Don't ever stop. You're awesome at it. However I can help, let me know. Definitely would love to give you a bigger platform on AAG. I'll send you bottles, actually. And she says, haha, aw, thank you. I won't now. Thank you so much. Ironically, I just bought another one just now. Haha. What do you mean by bigger platform on AAG? Haha. And he says, well, I definitely will stock you up. Your work is amazing. So however I can, I'd be like, send me money, bitches. Like, I don't need free alcohol. I don't need free alcohol. Send me money, bitches. So he goes, well, I definitely will stock you up. Your work is amazing. So however I can help, liquid inspiration. What a loser. He continues, LOL, the perfect subject. She says, exactly my thoughts. Haha. He says, well, I definitely owe you drinks and dinner next time I'm in your part of Florida, and more than happy to help support any creative ideas within reason you may have. She says, oh, thank you. That would be amazing. He says, literally the least I could do. And then there's images that couldn't be loaded. And then February 15th, 2019, her message is cut off, but it looks like I give the goods away for free, even that wedding. I can't charge, ask for something I have fun doing. What? Oh, girl, you need to hire me. If you're still around and you're still having issues charging for things you have fun doing, hit me up. It drives me crazy when people discount what they're good at or what they love. Like, get paid for what you're best at. Get paid for what you enjoy. That is the coolest thing about being a personal brand. He says, LOL, that's rude. Let me dig into the calendar and get you on some paid projects. You have talent for sure. However, I can help your portfolio and obviously be a reference too. She says, LOL, no, girl, no worries. It just makes me excited enough being featured. Oh my gosh, a reference would be amazing though. Haha, I'm just trying to learn. And I never realized how fun product photography would be. So used to people. And he says, LOL, products pose, you want them? Okay. So Melina's next request was indeed a gig, but according to her, it wasn't a paid one at all. Starting March 1st, Melina made several requests for Starkloff to do photo shoots for Aviation Gin merchandise, specifically apparel. At the time of his first request, Melina stated that he didn't yet know what kind of content he wanted to shoot. A month later in April, Melina told Starkloff he knew that she bought a bomber jacket. That's weird. How did he know she bought a bomber jacket? Are y'all like putting spyware on people's computers? Like, what is happening? It's unclear how he knows this, whether through monitoring her social media or through monitoring her purchase through the official website. So y'all are just like super creepy. You're never going to get away from the allegations that Ryan Reynolds is just super fucking creepy. Either way, this could be what gave Melina the idea to focus on this article of clothing in the upcoming shoot. Meanwhile, Starkloff seems apologetic in telling him that organizing a photo shoot with models is much harder than she anticipated due to scheduling conflicts. He expected her to set up photo shoots with models? Are you kidding me? It's an observation that a veteran photographer would already know and why they would never agree to such a photo shoot without pay. But she didn't have that business experience. I feel bad for her because she obviously told him like, no, I'll do it for free. But they also kind of manipulated her into that. They should have come up with a business offer from the get-go. But again, having been in these situations, Having been in these situations, this is what they do. And they hope you get all doe-eyed, star-eyed. Oh my God, so-and-so is giving me an opportunity to work with them. So I'm just going to have no boundaries and not respect myself. I feel bad for him. Melina was insistent, repeating the request not once, but twice. Starkloff finally completed the shoot in September and delivered the desired photos for free. What? This is wild. And this is what I tell you guys all the time with PR. No one picked this up. No one picked this up. And it's just like the Yi Zhou lawsuit we're going to talk about. I've had people reach out, one of who is connected in the industry, not to Jeremy Renner, Yi Zhou, take a seat, and said, it's frustrating that legacy media won't touch certain things. Yep. So we're going to deal with it after this. We might be here for a while today. I was so excited of getting so much done this morning, and I could be done work early today. Oh, maybe not. All right. March 1st, 2019. Ever did an apparel shoot? LOL. I need some lifestyle, the merch store stuff done. What a piece of shit to even put her in that position. Wow. She says, yes, did a jewelry shoot just a few days ago. I would be glad to do that for you. He says, oh, let me see. I'm thinking like people wearing the merch and having a good time just don't have content for the merch, Hire someone. What is happening? She says, that sounds like fun. I could have fun with that round up a pretty crowd. Haha. He sends a heart. All right. April 12th, 2019. He says, hey, think you could send me the high res of this? Maybe my Gin of Thrones post. She says, haha, yes, of course. I will when I get home. Oh, girl. The amount of money you could have charged these assholes. He says, you the best. Thanks. She says, no problem, sir. Thank you. He says, of course, saw you bought a bomber. Okay. If I was in her shoes and this guy's kind of creepy, let's just be honest. It's a creepy conversation. And all of a sudden he says, I see you bought a bomber. I'd be like, what is happening? Are you following me? Are you stalking me? What is happening? That's creepy. Let me know if you guys think it's creepy, but that is creepy. So he says, of course, saw you bought a bomber. And she says, hell yeah, haha. I wanted it. And the first time I saw you modeling the merch. Was he modeling the merch or did she mean the company? Also, I wanted to use it in photos. LOL, it's harder than I thought gathering a group with everyone's different work schedules. Yeah, I'm still trying though. Might just throw A and then it cuts off. September 12th, 2019. She sends 3 laughing faces. He says, hey, may need some help with bomber jacket content. Haha, want to do a push for the fall. She says, haha, okay. Any ideas in mind? If not, I can try and think of some. He says, I don't know. Haha. Maybe bomber while on the beach. Almost a transition from summer to fall. I'm open to whatever. So they're not even like coming up with the concepts. They're not even coming up with the concepts. She's making them come up with the concepts. Right. This is Ryan Reynolds, essentially, because he owns Aviation Gin at this point in time. And this is the brand manager. So who would be operating under Ryan's guidance? So have fun with it. She says, okay, cool. Thank you. Yay, says Adrian. September 18th, she says, true. His face will always guarantee to get you likes. I thought it was a good caption. Haha, thank you. Adrian says, haha, you're the sweetest. But no, you can't expect 1 million likes every post. Rule number 1 from social media management. But I could make that bomber jacket pop off. Any luck on those photos? It's just creepy. She writes, sounds like a stressful job. I overthink everything. LOL. I'm getting them on Sunday. Smiley face. I'll get them to you before Monday. He says, you the best. Well, Starkloff's complaint doesn't explicitly address it. The caption on Aviation Gin's Instagram post is telling. The Aviation Gin social media team were supposed to shoot fall cocktails for the first day of autumn, but it turned into a fall fashion shoot, it says. Wow. So there's the pictures. that she sent him. So the text message, she sends off the pictures and posted on Aviation Gin. The Aviation Gin social media team were supposed to shoot fall cocktails for the first day of autumn, but it turned into a fall fashion shoot. Blah, 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 blah. It's one of those days. It's, what is it, Thursday, Friday? I don't even know anymore. Oh my God, it's only Wednesday. Oh my God, it's only Wednesday. Oh, okay. Sorry. That was like Friday. I don't even see like a tag here, a photo credit by. I'm not seeing anything. Now, there is an option for more that wasn't clicked before the screenshot was taken, but I'm not seeing that. This in line with Starkoff's allegations that Aviation Gin repeatedly led her to believe that they would one day compensate or hire her. Any reasonable person reading that caption would believe that Starkoff was already part of Aviation Gin's social media team based on those words. According to her lawsuit, she wasn't. Well, and if this lawsuit went away in what? They said 5 days? Less than 5 days? They just paid her off. She was like, okay, fine. This is my number to make this go away. Me too. Okay, I'm not the only one. When I looked at my calendar, it said Wednesday. I almost fell over. Melina's request for more apparel photo shoots, also unpaid, continued. In February, Melina asked for a Valentine's Day themed ring proposal photo with a mini bottle of Aviation Gin. Starkoff obliged, allegedly purchasing a ring case and completing the shoot the same day. So she's also purchasing shit. Same day turnaround. I don't even do that for paid work. Nothing disrupts my peace. Nothing's going to disrupt my schedule like that. February 12th. He says, I have a dumb idea, might want to leverage your skills for haha. Oh, his ha-has are so disingenuous. I just want to like punch him in the face every time he says that. Do you have a mini and a ring case that's used for proposals? LOL. She says, I do, in fact. Haha, he says, had the dumb idea of a mini proposal for B-Day. She says, that would be cute. I'll see what I can do. He says, you're a lifesaver. And then there's the picture. So they're showing the text messages, the pictures, and she was never fucking paid for any of this. And it's not even like she's like, I could see, yeah, I get the reposting and it's fucking sketchy. But it's totally in alignment with Ryan's brand. It's sketchy. But they literally went to the lengths of making her come up with photo shoot ideas, buying the products and organizing people, organizing talent, etc., and doing it from start to back. And they were initiating that through her. Pardon the fuck me? Anyone who says LOL that much is scamming you. Yes. Agree. So there's the image. We're just a gin standing in front of a human asking them to love us. Hashtag Valentine's Day. Okay, they do tag her there. So maybe the last one, it was just under like more. Lena then asked for a photo shoot with Aviation Gin socks. He says, Adrian, again, keeping in mind, Ryan Reynolds now owns the company. This is the brand management guy. Odd request. Do you have any more pics of AAG socks? Oh my God, they keep reaching. What is happening? Girl. What is happening? I can't believe. I think I saw someone in the chat say young and naive. Yeah. I feel bad. Man, she was taken advantage of. She says, I don't, but I can get some. So she has to buy socks. So not only is she not being paid, she's buying products. Oh my God. She says, do you have something in mind? I can't believe this is real life. This is hard to believe that this is real life. He says, I don't know, may want to do an IG giveaway of like 10 pairs, want to show them in action. All something is the merch store. All I got is a merch store photo. That's a white background, something similar to what you did with the dog walking bottle, but obviously no dog. Haha. The copy I'm thinking is that our gin tastes so good that it's been known to blow socks off. She says, oh, nice. Yeah, I can get some. So she buys socks to then take, her pictures are beautiful. She does a great job to take pictures of them. These are a bunch of douche canoes. Aviation Gin, we're glad we're staying home and washing your hands, but your feet may be a little neglected, so we're giving away some socks. Melina's repeated requests for photo shoots were not the only work that Starkloff performed. In fact, most of the work she did for Aviation Gin was self-initiated, spurred by the joy of her craft and desire to get their attention. In 2019 alone, she performed nearly 30 photo shoots. Her work was not only showcased bottles of Aviation Gin itself, but branded merchandise. Holy crap. These are all her pictures? 2019? What? So this is the first half of her photography work during 2019 to promote Aviation Gin. She even took photos that were relevant to Ryan Reynolds' current Hollywood projects to help promote those films and Reynolds as an actor. What? Such as staging a Pokeball next to the bottle of Aviation Gin during the promotion of Detective Pikachu. Was he in that? In November 2019? Oh, yeah. Many of these photos were reposted on Aviation Gin's official social media pages, where they enjoyed thousands more likes than what Starkloff received on her own pages. So this is 2019, part 2. I mean, some of these images are ones that I associate the most with Aviation Gin. That's wild. Her talent is strikingly apparent, while her experience as a small business entrepreneur is probably best described as amateur. You think? Her photography work is nothing of the sort. Her portfolio, she needed someone to be protecting her interests. This is wild. This is insane. Her portfolio is bursting with an impressive diversity of shots. Yeah, she's really good. I'm glad they paid her and she's talented, but she's stupid. I mean, yeah. I don't even know how. I'm genuinely at a loss of words on how this is real. Like, this is hard to believe for me. Like, this isn't a startup company that your friend's creating, so you're helping them out. This is Aviation fucking Gin and a multi-millionaire in Ryan Reynolds. And you're going to do work for them for free? Are you kidding me? Even better for Aviation Gin, there's a deep, intimate familiarity with the brand and its needs. Although not shown here, Starkloff often included witty captions with her photos, capturing the same style, playful, sarcastic wit as Reynolds prides himself on. She understood Aviation Gin's brand along with Reynolds' personal brand inside and out, which is why she should have been paid well. Because she understands branding and photography. Wow. Seeing some questions around, did she get money in the lawsuit? No one knows. It went away. I'm assuming that's what happened. That's what anyone can assume, right? If someone files a lawsuit with a big name like Ryan Reynolds and it disappears 5 days later, I'm imagining there's a phone call that was made of how much can I pay you to make this go away? These compilations don't cover the full breadth of her work. All right, so she's doing all this shit. Merchandise, t-shirts, headgear. She was buying it all and taking pictures of it for them. Reynolds, Melina, and Aviation Gin were undoubtedly aware of her worth and how effectively she was augmenting theirs. No shit. She was aware of neither. No kidding. The big break, not for Starkloff, but for Reynolds. On December 3rd, 2019, an ad for Peloton, oh yeah, it was Peloton, exercise bikes aired on televisions and drew immense backlash. It shows a husband gifting his wife a Peloton bike for Christmas, who then documents her exercise journey on video over time with a terror-stricken smile as if forced into it. Even though the ad had been uploaded online the previous month, it didn't attract mainstream attention until it was plastered across television sets for a holiday promotion. The criticism was sharp, immediate, and nearly unanimous. The ad was sexist. The flames of consumer fury dominated headlines and resulted in Peloton's stock dropping 10%. Reynolds lunged at the opportunity to insert himself. Surprise, surprise, Ryan inserted himself. Within 4 days, he and his company, Maximum Effort, booked the Peloton wife from the original ad, Monica Ruiz, and used her to pump out a piggyback ad on December 6th. The ad carefully avoids mentioning what transpired in the original Peloton ad and instead focuses on Ruiz needing alcohol and support from female friends for reasons that are deliberately up to interpretation. Widely called the Peloton ad in mainstream publications, the nickname for Reynolds' ad is a misnomer, which obscures the fact that it's actually an Aviation Gin ad. There's no mention or visual inclusion of Peloton anywhere. The ad relies on recency bias and the viewer's recognition of Monica Ruiz as she returns to the screen, not on Peloton. While piggybacking off another company's advertising misfires, didn't he end up, I think he ended up doing an ad for Peloton, and it's probably going to explain it in a minute, for Peloton and helping them come back from stuff. But maybe they will, because that ad, the backlash ad wasn't for maximum effort, but it looks like he just inserted himself. And that's what we've talked about previously with PR too, right? It's like keyword piggybacking or hijacking. So in this situation, of course, no one's searching Monica's name necessarily in regards to Peloton, but you're going to recognize her face. And it's kind of a very similar thread in terms of marketing and PR. All right. So while piggybacking off another company's advertising misfires, appropriately called ambush marketing, is a tried and true marketing method that Reynolds did not invent. He was showered in accolades nonetheless. Of course he was. Of course he was. Because they take authorship of everything, even things that have been around forever. They just take authorship of it. I mean, this is going to get backlash, but kind of like Taylor Swift with Easter eggs. She didn't invent that. That is a branding psychology thing. She rebranded it as Easter eggs because it comes across a little bit better to people that, oh, you're finding Easter eggs, then I'm using branding psychology on you. But, there's that. So kind of happens with big names. They like to think that they're clever and they came up with these things. So it continues. This was most likely because as a celebrity influencer, it was the first time he made a move in the advertiser world that went beyond mere influencing. After all, the Aviation Gin ad was a full commercial spot, scripted, cast, filmed, and blasted across major television networks like the ad that preceded it within a handful of days. It helped double sales for Aviation Gin. It was a crown jewel in Reynolds' new venture as an advertiser. He was on top of the world and things were only going to get better for him. The year is 2020. It's the beginning of the SARS-CoV pandemic that, despite people's willful denial and insistence on the contrary, continues to disable and kill to this day. All right, we don't need to get into that. Starkloff snaps one of the more casual shots, staging an orange-filled martini glass, a mini bottle of Aviation Gin, and a packet of cold medicine brand Emergency. She captions it, "Made myself a quarantini." She uploads it to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram on March 12th, 2020. In a moment that no one could have predicted, it went massively viral on all three platforms. All right, so that's the picture there. Made myself a quarantini. What is with the obsession with the Aviation Gin? I don't understand it. I don't know. Yes, make sure to like the stream, please. So someone says, very clever. Someone else says, genuinely made me laugh. Someone else, you're a liquor genius. The post was shared over 110,000 times on Facebook alone. The official emergency social media account weighs in. So did Aviation Gin. So did Ryan Reynolds. In fact, he updated his out-of-office email auto-reply to refer to Starkloff's post. So this is Aviation Gin share on, that looks like Twitter. Well, everyone should take precaution during these times. We do not recommend having a quarantini or any alcohol if you're feeling under the weather. If you're feeling fine and legal drinking age, a little extra vitamin C consumption doesn't hurt. Aviation Gin PR. And so they shared her post. Ryan Reynolds shared it. It looks like on his Instagram, Vancity Reynolds. And does he tag her? No. It almost looks like he took a screenshot of it. Why does it look like he took a screenshot of it and then put his own? That doesn't even look like he shared it. Because you would have, I could be wrong, but you would have her name in the corner. It looks like he took a screenshot and then put text over the top of her caption where she said, time for a quarantini. Because look, she has the martini glass and the cold face. So it looks like he took a screenshot, took her caption, and made it look like he made the caption. Yeah, it looks like it, right? And then Ryan Reynolds' email. Hello, I'm out of the office because everyone is. Official statement on the quarantini below. Do not drink alcohol if you're feeling under the weather, please. And he doesn't tag her. Well, why am I shocked? Why am I shocked that Ryan Reynolds is sketchy AF and it's just like more and more coming out? So Starclass post did fare more than go viral. It transcended social media. The word quarantini was immediately adopted in mainstream vernacular as if it had been there all along. The concept was so popular that it inspired recipes. What? Did you trademark the word, girl? And multiple cookbooks using the name and filings of trademarks revolving specifically around beverages and flavored health powders. And in a stroke of incredible luck and fortune for Reynolds, encouraged bars and restaurants to stock aviation gin to sell the unique cocktail. He made a fortune off of her by taking her post and her idea and her concept. And he didn't even credit her. The aviation gin post credited her by just resharing it or whatever. He didn't even credit her. I am not seeing any tag. What it looks like is he took a screenshot, wrote her caption, and took credit for it. Oh my God. How much have these people just taken authorship of other people's shit? So it says, fortunately for Starclough and unfortunately for Reynolds, Starclough kept a record of these moments. Good for her. She simply wanted to share these events on her Facebook page in real time to celebrate the moment, but likely had no idea that it would serve as legal evidence later. So Starclough documents Quarantini being featured in the news and bars. Good for her. And then different companies are featuring it, and Aviation Gin's sharing it. She's not getting credit anywhere. Wow. And all the hype and excitement, not everyone gave credit to Starclough. In fact, the recipe mentioned above from Jessica Segarra, aka the novice chef, goes out of its way to pretend that Segarra invented it. You guys are all assholes. Not only does she call it the original Quarantini drink, but she dedicates several paragraphs to suggesting that she came up with the term. People are so sketchy. The initial thought behind a Quarantini, she writes, was that it's a martini that you drink alone in your house while under lockdown. While some articles correctly link the term back to Starclough, the viral sensation it created, others credit Segarra instead of Starclough, ironically respecting the idea that Segarra might have recipe copyright. That's why you have to trademark shit. Unfortunately for Starclough, that's not where the erasure and theft would end. Reynolds, already on a high from his aviation gin commercial with Monica Ruiz 3 months earlier, was ready to take advantage of the moment and leverage it to the max. Of course he was. This is what I'm saying. I think Blake meant to say ownership and she said authorship. Because obviously Ryan has used, as this article shows, the word ownership. I am guaranteeing that Blake meant to say ownership, but in Blake word salad type, just, on brand for Blake, said authorship instead. And she got it from her husband. So Ryan appeared on The Late Show with Colbert on April 2nd, a mere weeks after Starclough's viral post. The interview, which is barely an interview, but more of a well-disguised aviation gin ad. Oh, whoops. You okay? Made to look like an interview, was punctuated by several premeditated interruptions by Colbert, pulling out a bottle of the clear liquid and making him a cocktail in between questions about, you guessed it, Reynolds owning and managing the brand. That's a Quarantini you've made there, I see, said Reynolds in their planned bit. The YouTube comments lauded Reynolds for his cleverness. It wasn't until a week later that Reynolds corrected the record after a fan tweeted at him about the interview. The Quarantini, a beautiful cocktail idea from Van City Reynolds, Ryan Reynolds, and Colbert. The tweet reads, and Reynolds says, I wish I could take credit for the Quarantini. That credit goes to Marilyn Starclough. Aviation Gin's official Twitter page run by Melina. So that is so many names here. That's the brand manager of Aviation Gin, agrees with facts. M. Starclough is a Quarantini queen. And so there's proof here. But Ryan still went on, Colbert still went on this platform and talked about the Quarantini and didn't give her credit publicly. But it's a little too late. Reynolds, after the fact correction. So this is what I've said. I think it was yesterday on the channel. We talked about, or was it 2 days ago? I don't even know anymore. I thought it was Friday. So, that tells you what I think about the week. But I'd said that this is also the problem with platforms like TMZ, where they leave all the social media posts up. So it's not like that video with Colbert was corrected or taken down. You leave these posts up, which are incorrect. And sure, you offer like a correction on the main article, but 80% of people never click on the article. So you're still leaving 80% of people seeing the misinformation. So even after the fact corrections, it doesn't do much of anything. So I agree with this, the journalist that wrote this, but it's a little too late. Reynolds, after the fact correction given only when a fan credited him in writing, is buried in a Twitter reply that only got a couple hundred likes. In contrast, Colbert's television viewership at the time was around 3.3 to 3.6 million viewers per week. The YouTube upload of Reynolds' interview has 2.6 million views. And that's, again, exactly what I was saying about things like TMZ is, okay, so you get how many people that see the correction versus how many people saw the initial article. Corrections don't really do a hell of a lot. For Reynolds, paying a proverbial penny's worth of lip service is a barely there Twitter reply is nothing to compare to what he gained in taking ownership of the term of the grand stage of legacy media, another convenient outcome of his act first, ask for permission later policy. I wonder who else has a act first, ask for permission later policy. I don't know, his wife? I honestly think that Blake got all of this from Ryan. Meanwhile, Starkloff never stopped taking photos on her own throughout 2020. She pumped out another impressive year of beautiful and diverse shots promoting aviation gin without employment or pay. I have to say one thing. At what point, and I don't mean this to be an ass, but at what point is it like, girl, you should have just stopped? You know, and that might be rude, but at what point do you just go like, I'm not getting paid. They're taking advantage of me. They're taking credit for my shit. Look, you either pay me, this is my fee, and back pay for all this crap, or I stop taking pictures or I take you to court. So I don't really agree with continuing to go. And at some point, like I hate to say it, but there's also at some point personal responsibility of like you continue to, like, we're what, 2 years into this shit? So this is the first half of photography work during 2020 to promote aviation gin. And then the second part, like she's hiring people to come for the pictures. Like, this is wild. It's important to know that Aviation Gin did more than repeatedly repost Starkloff's photography on their social media throughout 2019 and 2020. They also used her apparel photo shoots involving models on their official Aviation Gin merchandise website. Wow. The photos have since been scrubbed in the aftermath of Starkloff's lawsuit. While there aren't screenshots of the bomber jacket photos being featured on the website, which she alleges was there until she filed her complaint, Starkloff did keep screenshots of her 2020 photo shoot involving a group of 4 models who took photos at a brewery with a variety of poses, camera angles, and group interactions. So she took screenshots of everything that was there before they scrubbed it. Wow. This model-based photo shoot took place 5 months after Starkloff's viral quarantini moment. One would think at this point, Aviation Gin would have recognized that it was beyond time to officially hire her, or at least pay her per photo or gig, if for no other reason than to protect themselves from legal liability. But according to Starkloff's complaint, they were only sending her swag, Aviation Gin merchandise, like apparel, frisbees, etc. This sounds like the equestrian industry. It's like, work for me and then I'll give you like a lesson. I'm not going to pay you, but like you can have the honor of working for me and like I'll give you a lesson once in a while. It's wild. She alleges that Melina made multiple promises to send her merch and only followed through occasionally, where she alleges that much of the merchandise or the apparel she did not receive ended up going to the models for their participation in the photo shoot, meaning Starkloff didn't even get to keep what she was sent. Wow. So Aviation Jin was doggedly avoiding compensating Starkloff for her labor and photography work, using occasional swag as a cheap consolation prize instead. How were they able to justify this? Okay, we turn to Aviation Jin's senior manager, Adrian Molina. What do you say, buddy? Aviation Jin's marketing model: Molina, manipulation, and a girl named Marilyn. Manipulation sounds about right for Ryan Reynolds' marketing model. Manipulation, stealing, theft of intellectual property. Earlier in the article, we mentioned the importance of establishing a timeline of Reynolds' rise in both Hollywood and the marketing world. I still want to know how Ryan Reynolds rose in Hollywood with continuous bombs after bomb after bomb. Now we will combine these two elements to uncover the missing piece in Starkloff's case, what Molina and ultimately Ryan Reynolds were thinking at the time. Following the Aviation Gin piggyback ad with Monica Ruiz in December 2019, Reynolds and Molina were treated like gold medalists at the advertising and marketing world. Yeah, and it wasn't them. It wasn't their ideas. Unbelievable. Well, it is believable, but still, I am still always flabbergasted by the shit that Ryan Reynolds pulls. The two were basking in media attention, adulation, and accolades. Molina was named one of Adweek's 2020 Young Influentials, a rising star in marketing. And in those text messages, he's like, I don't know. You come up with something. I don't know what the fuck you're, what, me? The brand manager come up with an idea? What are you talking about? That's crazy talk. What? He went on a media tour blitz, appearing on several marketing podcast interviews throughout 2020. Wow. Marketing professionals and even marketing professors wanted to know, what was Aviation Gin's secret formula that was making the brand so successful online? Across these 4 interviews, Molina provided the answers. The first question was how Aviation Gin's marketing team was run. This was of particular interest not only because of Reynolds' celebrity status, but because of his unusually high hands-on involvement compared to most Hollywood influencers. Molina happily obliged in revealing their team structure, repeating the same story in every interview. Ryan Reynolds, his creative partner, George Dewey, and Molina were the essential marketing trio for Aviation Gin. Wow. They didn't even mention her name. Wow. They worked closely with each other on both big budget commercials like the piggybacking television commercial, along with Molina's daily social media strategy online. Yeah, his social media strategy was texting this girl and being like, can you come up with something? Because, like, I got nothing. Molina mentions that there is a VP of marketing above him and an associate brand manager below him, but neither played a significant role in shaping strategy or implementing it, instead merely serving as support to either Molina or the two partners. Reading between the lines, Molina implies that the VP was an old school traditional advertising professional who didn't understand online platforms or how to tap into culturals. All right, going on. So associate brand manager performs a type of logistical work that he doesn't want to do himself. Reminds me of like the Office article, like assistant to the branch manager or assistant to, assistant to. That freed him up to focus mainly on creative aspects with Reynolds and Dewey. The marketing minds behind Aviation, it's really Ryan and his creative partner, George Dewey, who is a president of Maximum Effort Productions. Guys, what? The blatant lying. Well, they never paid her a dime. Wow. Haley, thank you so much. Someone started that Ari worked at CAA while Ryan was there before starting at WME. Maybe it's something. Was he at CAA? I don't think he was. I can look into it. I'm like, I thought, oh yeah, he did work for CAA early in his career. He started in the agency's mailroom in Hollywood in 1987. Well, 1987. I'd have to look into it to see if before founding Endeavor Talent Agency in the mid-1990s. Okay, so he would have been at Endeavor. And actually that matches up because I think when we did the exposés on Ari and Ryan, we talked about Blade Trinity. And I think I had said in them that Ari was at Endeavor then. So it looks like, from what I can find just off the top, really quick about Ari Emanuel, so he started Endeavor in the mid-1990s. And it says, so before founding it in the mid-1990s, so he worked in the mailroom at CAA. He worked as an agent at other firms, including Intertalent and ICM Partners. So I don't know if there would be overlap. Because it seems like early 1990s that he started Endeavor. Khaleesi, thank you so much. Touch frozen grass. It is, you can touch frozen grass out here right now. There is so much frozen grass out here right now. Oh, so Ryan and Dewey take credit for all of the marketing. So Melina says there's not really a science to it, and we're a really small team. So an idea like Peloton or the Fire Festival, we'll start off with a text chain between Ryan and George. I'll get the script from George, and then I'll kind of add my 2 cents to it because obviously we want to get as much branding as possible. Working with Ryan and George in the last 2 years, they're more ingrained in the brand, so they know what points we want to hit. So then there's this, do we have the budget to do this? It's off to the races. Do we have the budget to do this? Well, let's just use the girl that's doing shit for free, shall we? Interesting, in another interview, Melina adds, there's been a lot of times that ideas have come from Ryan and George's world and me from brand side, and knowing the spirits industry as a whole. It's like, we can't do that. It's illegal. Can you imagine Maximum Thievery? Yes. Can you imagine being her? Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't agree with how she handled it. And being her and doing all of this and then seeing them talk like this. Oh. The second question was about Aviation Gin's robust online engagement. To this, Melina coins his strategy, social listening. That's not your strategy, buddy. We've talked about social listening on this channel so much. Do not pretend. What is it with these people and pretending they came up with shit? So he talks about having every one of these searches saved. So, he's monitoring what's being said about Ryan Reynolds, Aviation Gin, everything in between, real time on social media. And he says he coins it. The audacity of these people. This is wild. They just put their name on everything. They steal. This is insane to me. Then he goes into detail of his favorite platforms, Twitter and Instagram, and his least favorite, Facebook, which he says is too pay to play compared to the others. That is true. He notes that the copy on a post, i.e. marketing term for text-based advertising, in this context, it refers to a tweet or image caption, performs better on Twitter. That is true. Whereas images are more impactful on Instagram. That is true. He even mentions dipping into Reddit to measure traction on Aviation Gin ads. Didn't they have, an aneurysm over apparently Justin Baldoni watching what's going on Reddit? Didn't they have an aneurysm over that? I seem to remember them getting pissed watching what's going on Reddit because, that means it's bad and nefarious and black hat SEO. Unbelievable. So they were monitoring Reddit. They're taking the temperature on consumer sentiment, which tends to be more honest and conversational there. He says, you're the eyes and ears of your brand. The world is your focus group. The third question was listening to whom when making the brand asks Melina about Aviation Gin's interactions with customers and how it influences Aviation Gin's content. He answers, I think our fan base is amazing. They're insanely engaged. They're also creative themselves, which I do find inspiring. Seeing like a lot of people just taking dope photography. So one of our followers, Marilyn Starloff, She started off taking pictures of aviation gin bottles and a candy cane, and obviously doing social listening. I was like, this is a sick photo and it's Christmas. Wow, I want to use that. So I asked her and obviously tagged her, and she gained followers. It's obviously like people who are creating content just for fun and that are using our brand. Why not amplify that platform a little bit better? You can't stand there. No, come on. You're on the mic. Thus far, none of the strategy would be problematic if it weren't for the truth of Starcloth's situation behind the scenes. So there you go. Like, if you've ever had questions on who Ryan Reynolds is and the sketchy shit he pulls, they just lie through their fucking teeth. First, it's worth pointing out that the interviewer explicitly asked about customers, and it was Melina who chose not to use that word and use fan base instead. Second, he brought up Starcloth unprompted as a prime example of the brand's success with online engagement, implying that they viewed her as a particularly special feather in their cap. Finally, let's review how much Aviation Gin has relied on Starcloth's work up to date. So we don't have to go through all that because we already did it. So they do talk about, there's this girl, her name is Marilyn. She lives in Florida. She took the dopest picture of Aviation Gin. So just going through the timeline, which we literally already did. So it says, meanwhile, in their private conversations during the same time period, Melina was praising Starcloth and telling her she deserved paid opportunities for her work. What a sketchy asshole. February 13th, 2020. He says, it's a certain type of ADD, but no, seriously, Marilyn, you got talent. Get them checks. Be like, Ryan Reynolds likes my shit. Be the bad bitch that you are. She says, haha, maybe that really is a compliment considering all those amazing photographers you work with. LOL, you're going to make me cry. He says, hey, Guy Arich, who is Ryan's preferred photog and does Vogue stuff, sucks. If you counted, you have a better eye for brand. He shoots Ryan because Ryan likes him. However, I can help make your passion a career. I'm here for it. He says, that's where you're stuck. Take your own path to the level you want it to be at. Destinations are the same on Google Maps, but the routes are always changeable and sometimes not even in the GPS. Haha, sorry for being preachy, but bottom line, you are talented, pretty, self-aware, funny, and have a fuck ton of potential. I'm not a role model in any way, but I know potential and talent when I see it. So however I can help. I mean, at this point, I'd be like, you've been telling me however you can help for ages now. So screw you. She says, I'll take your advice. Then February 18th, 2020, she says, hey, Adrian, a while back ago, this may have been last year, you mentioned I could list you as a reference on my resume. Is that still possible? Just wanted to make sure it was okay with you before I do anything. Not sure if it will intrigue wherever I'm applying, but it's worth a shot. Maybe LOL. I don't know. He says, fuck yes, add me, put all my info. I'll be your hype wingman. She says, haha, thank you so much. That'd be awesome. He says, I got you. She says, thank you. And it just reiterates here what they said back and forth. March 13th. He's still going. This is just creepy. I'm sorry. This whole thing is just creepy. It's really creepy. March 13th, 2020. He's just still going on and know you have support. If I were hiring, I would for real. My reference letter will be like the end of Devil Wears Prada. This guy is like, who is this person? Oh, you're an idiot if you don't hire her. She says, haha, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. Honestly, I don't expect many people to be hiring right now unless it was for essential jobs. So I'll probably be stuck for a while. He says, it won't be that long. I feel like I had to kill my budget. Everyone's just forecasting and being, and it's cut off. There's something about being planning. Like literally they just used her. And I still think she should have just walked away from this shit. But this is what the industry does. And what Ryan Reynolds of the industry do is they just prey on people. He continues, quit your job. You have a resume and I will be your reference. And I'm sure Ryan can. Haha. She says, that would be amazing. I need references for sure. They would hire me just to talk to Ryan Reynolds. LMAO. He sends her a link. I reacted the same way when followed me. She says, I think any normal person would. April 11th, she sends doing fine, avoiding going out anywhere besides taking the dogs on walks. So they're just going, this is just a weird relationship. It's just weird. Going back and forth. He's pumping her up. I don't know. And it just reiterates all of the stuff they were saying. And Melina says, we're such a small brand. Like, obviously, the marketing team is very, very limited. It's a sentiment he repeats multiple times. I love just seeing our user-generated content because, hey, small team, don't have the biggest content budget for ongoing evergreen stuff besides the Peloton things of the world and our leans of the world. So this is in reference to the piggybacking television commercial with Monica. This is just wild. All right, this goes on forever, so we're just going to skip down a bit. He talks about lack of budget multiple times, how online buzz leads to actual sales because it does. In an interview, Adweek's Social Confidential laid out Aviation Gin's entire roadmap to success in a sequence of 5 telling images. So this is Aviation Gin's marketing strategy. Find a meme. 2, invoke Ryan Reynolds' celebrity ownership of Aviation Gin. Number 3, meme acquired Marilyn Starkloff's Quarantini. So basically, we steal shit. That's what they do. They steal shit. They talk about the sales. More text. Like, I can't, like, these text messages give me the creeps. I can't keep reading these text messages. They give me the creeps. I don't know how she wasn't creeped out. But they keep going back and forth. This is, where's the date on this? There's no date on this. March 13th, 2020. It's so weird. Like, he's messaging, you are making the internet happy. Take that with you. In this time of crisis, you made them all smile, not aviation, but you. Hope you realize that. Ryan Reynolds. Okay. I'm sorry, but Ryan Reynolds, what the fuck are you doing going after Justin Baldoni for SH when your brand manager, dude, is talking to some random girl online like this? This is really fucking creepy. I'm sorry. Ew. The amount of ick I have. And this is your company, Ryan. And this is going on in your company. These weird, how old is this woman? Did it say? I can't remember. It feels like I've been reading this for 7 hours. How old is this woman? Pardon me. And you're going to go after Justin Baldoni for a toxic work environment. You're going to go after Justin Baldoni for his set and a culture of what? Gratitude and hugging. And you've got this creep, my opinion only, sending text messages back and forth to this woman. I agree. They sound like late night drunk texts. It's gross. And he's representing the company as he's sending these. She expresses, this is gross. And it's even worse that Ryan has the audacity to come after Justin Baldoni and Wayfair. Well, this shit's going on in his company. This is disgusting. Meanwhile, Starkloff expresses her frustration that she's not getting credit, but resigns herself to it. She says that's the price you pay when you go viral. LMAO. So it says, how responsible is Ryan Reynolds in this really? Well, it's his fucking company. So there's that. So as of now, the exploitation of Marilyn Starkloff seems to fall squarely on the shoulders of Adrian Molina. I don't agree with that. No. Sorry. No. And you're probably trying to prevent being sued by saying that. But yes, Adrian was communicating with her. But what? Ryan had no idea what was going on. He had no idea where those pictures were coming from. He had no idea how all of a sudden they had all these professional images available for the company without actually hiring anyone. He had no idea. Ryan Reynolds seemed to understand where shit came from because he took credit for the Quarantini and then corrected it in a tweet thread where like 100 people saw it. So I get you're just trying to not get sued, obviously, by Ryan Reynolds, but I'm sorry. No, I don't agree. That falls squarely on Adrian. I mean, he's a creep, my opinion only. This whole thing is disgusting. It's so inappropriate. And at the same time, I don't think Ryan is without any fault. I had the hiccups. It says here that's only because proof of Ryan's involvement isn't featured much in Starcloth's lawsuit. It's much more prominent on her social media pages. Still, it's his company. And going through Starcloth's online digital records, it's hard not to come away with the impression that she was perpetually starstruck by the actor. Ugh. Even up to the very end, but her screenshots meant to celebrate Reynolds' interaction with her show a sad, twisted pattern of Reynolds and aviation Jin continuously leveraging her interest. Yeah. But before we get into the interactions, let's first hear Reynolds' own words about his marketing ethos, absent the specific context with Starcloth. Melina wasn't the only one doing a victory lap in the media during this era of post-Peloton piggybacking ad glow. Reynolds, too, was snapping up honors, awards, and interview opportunities in the marketing world, and revealing that much of Melina's strategy came directly from him. Yeah, so he was giving the direction. All right, so he says, necessity is the mother of invention. The studio constantly took money away from us as opposed to putting money into the project. We were always having to replace spectacle, which costs a lot of money, with character. That created very valuable lessons. Okay, so he's talking about how he made the movies. Just like Melina, Reynolds openly and comfortably confesses to their strategy. Don't spend money on advertising. So they've both said we don't spend money on advertising. We just exploit people? They sought unpaid, earned media instead, word of mouth media like social media buzz. And that was the strategy that worked for Deadpool. Reynolds says comic book fans really, I would say, are the authors of Deadpool's success. They helped get it made. They spoke on the internet, Fox listened, and the test footage leaked on the internet. Savvy readers may recognize this language as something that Blake Lively said at Book Bonanza to promote Ends With Us in 2024. These are the people who authored the success of the book, said Lively in reference to Colleen Hoover's book fans right after admitting to stealing unauthorized footage of the unfinished film. Didn't I say that at the beginning of this 20-hour live? The beginning of this, I said, this is exactly what Blake did, is she took unauthorized the movie and leaked it. Unlike Reynolds, however, this phrasing was a much more awkward choice as Hoover, the actual author, was on stage with her when she said it. All right, so it talks about his Deadpool stuff. Yet Reynolds reiterated his miserly money mantra later in the interview. Everything we do is incredibly prudent in terms of cost and time. We don't spend money unless we have to. It all kind of originates from Deadpool, where we had to make $1 feel like 10, and that has served us better than almost any other edit across the board could ever serve us. It's just been delightful because everything is down and dirty. Fundamentally, it has a lack of red tape. As suspect, the pressure on Melina to stay within budget and more specifically to not spend money at all comes directly from boss Ryan Reynolds. He says, mostly I'm listening. Asked about the reason for his team's success. He advises other marketing professionals to tune into the digital water cooler, that is social media, to hear the cultural conversations around you and extra. Okay, I'm sorry. I can't even finish this sentence. So Ryan Reynolds outs himself. He watches everyone's content. He's in the social monitoring tools. I mean, if you've ever doubted it before, now you know. Yeah, echoing Melina's social listening moniker. It's not Melina's. What the hell? That is just a PR word. They didn't create it. Why does Ryan and everyone in his orbit want to take credit for everything? Is Ryan Reynolds a celebrity crush, future boss, or master manipulator? He is a master manipulator, in my opinion only. All right. So it shows him sharing posts by by Marilyn. Looks like he even commented on some of her stuff. So she made a post, COVID pro tip, and he said evil laugh with some martinis. It says first there was a barrier between Reynolds and Starkloff. He didn't interact with her. Instead, he responded to tweets she made. But the next time the barrier between them lowers when Starkloff makes a post on her own personal Twitter. And she tweeted alongside one of the official Aviation Gin promotional photos. It goes decently viral with 4,000 likes and Reynolds' response to the tweet. All right, so they're kind of going back and forth on social media. It's still just weird. Then she gets really excited. Yeah, see, she even acknowledges it. He screenshot my story and shared it. Oh, okay, there he didn't cut her name off. Okay, sorry. Premature. He at least tagged her there. So she's gushing that he shared her in the Instagram stories. She says, Ryan Reynolds reacts more to my stories than my friends do. LOL, I just want to be on a first name basis. And he reacts with a laugh emoji. It's just weird. And then he replies to her story, brilliant. She says, haha, thank you. I don't know, guys. This is just wild. I don't know. Am I the only one that's creeped out by this? It's just as creepy. Yeah, and he's piggybacking off the love of John Candy. That's what he does. Like, to me, what this does, like, this case is already settled, obviously, but it just exposes Ryan for who he is. It exposes how he treats people, how he uses people, manipulates people, and he doesn't care. He leaks movies to get what he wants. He does whatever he wants in Hollywood. He's a leech, yeah. So he piggybacks off of other companies' missteps to promote himself. More than anything, that's what this does, is it literally just shows the kind of person he is. These are just creepy messages that are going back and forth between. What is going on here? Shoot your shot? So her friends' reactions provide insight into how Reynolds repeatedly interacted with her and how it was perceived. So people say you should be the head of marketing for Aviation Gin. People telling her to shoot her shot. Was he like couple of the year? I'd consider you both friends. She says, I like to pretend we are. This is just creepy. They give me the ick. Ryan and this Melina character. Okay, so wasn't he Blake Lively? Like, how long have him and Blake Lively been together? Long have and Blake Lively been married? They've been together 12 years? This is 5 years ago? And people are talking about them hooking up and that they should hook up? What? Couple of the year? What is happening? Does Blake know this shit goes on? Like, is Blake in a healthy relationship? Is part of the thing I want to know. What is going on in this relationship? Reynolds was so responsive to her for some of her friends. The excitement eventually dimmed and they became unimpressed. T-minus 10 till old Van City makes a comment, one friend said, referring to his online username. Oh, Hugh Jackman even started commenting. So Hugh Jackman got in on this. What is happening? This is just weird. This person says this time it was Hugh Jackman. Yeah, Hugh rarely responds, so you have a better chance with Ryan. Am I the only one, guys? Am I the only one that thinks this is really fucking weird? What is happening? So disappointed with you. Yeah, me too. I think we all know the answer to that. Good point. Good point. Her celebrity worship blinded her. To how she was being exploited. It wouldn't be fair to judge her or her friends harshly for the reactions. Ironically, a disproportionate reverence for Reynolds would not be a deterrent to him hiring her, as it would fit right into his company culture. Once again, Melina provides insight. So this is the brand manager says, thank you to whoever was my secret Santa for the marketing Twitter gift exchange for somehow reaffirming my morning routine. The tweet shows a picture of a mug that says to-do list 1, wake up, 2, drink coffee, 3, admire Ryan Reynolds, and 4, get shit done. What? I feel like I need a shower after this. Anyway. So apparently Dewey is not employed by Aviation Gin. He's like the partner with maximum effort, which makes sense. Yeah, I don't know, man. So that's just that. I mean, it goes on to talk about other businesses he has, the acquisition, the portfolios. Was she still going? She wasn't completely deterred. She continued to create photography to promote Aviation Gin through 2021. Girl, at some point you have to take responsibility. I'm so At some point you have to take responsibility. This is like years and years and years of this shit. I'm starting to not feel. Oh, she's even doing Betty Buzz stuff. There you go. Now she's even taking pictures for Betty Buzz. Okay. At some point, you gotta take responsibility. What the fuck is going on? More Betty Buzz. So she was taking pictures for Blake Lively's products too. And Melina mentions your family or your fam, insert Vin Diesel face. Oh, Blake Lively's absolutely delicious product. I think you're the only person that's ever said that. Wow. All right. Well, this is just weird. 2022, no. Guys, no. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay. So apparently, Starclass's new paid gig occupies her whole year, although she still incorporates bottles of aviation gin and several of her photo shoots. It's a sign that to Starclass, Betty Buzz may feel like yet another consolation prize, and that her heart's true wish to be employed by Aviation Gin, or at least get paid for working with them, remains out of touch. So she's got all these pictures for Betty Buzz. So this is paid in 2022 for Betty Buzz. Not for Aviation Gin. Looks like by 2022, she was getting paid for Betty Buzz. Noticing the sustained presence of Aviation Gin in her work, Starclass's friends continue to ask her if she's getting paid to promote the company. They say, I hope they pay you to sponsor them. I love Blake and Ryan. And she says they do for Betty Buzz. Someone else says, hey, Marilyn, are you promoting Aviation Gin now? She says, Betty Buzz, I do. A few months later, she shares a screenshot. So she's working for the wife, but her and her friends are all talking about her dating Ryan Reynolds and hooking up with Ryan Reynolds. What? Yeah, stupid. I'm sorry, guys, but like, yeah, that's the feeling I get, that she wanted Ryan so bad. It's just weird. It's weird. So she shares screenshots of Blake Lively liking everything. So it looks like Lively and Starclass never interacted in the process of hiring her, but Starclass' patience with Aviation Gin was wearing thin. I mean, like, are you fucking kidding me? Now it's wearing thin. Someone says, are they paying you yet? And she again says, Betty Buzz does. Oh, she hit her breaking point, for the love of God. But they reeled her back in. What is happening? January 2022, one of his employees, Julianne, reached out to Starclass. Are you shooting for Aviation Gin? He asks. No, I shoot for Betty Buzz, though. She responds, but would you be interested in shooting for Aviation Gin content? Ugh. She alleges that despite answering affirmatively, she never received a follow-up. Then someone else, September 25th, reached out to her. He told her he would reach out to her soon with a price quote because he was working with a brand that needs some bottles photography. But never heard back. So those are the never hearing back. Ugh. I don't know. I need a shower. And like fangirling over 2023 when Ryan Reynolds shares her work. Girl, I wish you had like a coach, a mentor at the time, like somebody. What is happening? And I don't mean it to be rude, but like, I wish you had someone that could have helped you build an actual business, because you were used, manipulated. So it's unknown when her agreement with Betty Buzz expired, but it's clear from her 2023 work, in which only one Betty Buzz photo shoot was posted, that probably ended sometime that year. She resumed her efforts to pitch her work to Aviation Gin, but they kept ignoring her when she wanted paid work. After 5 years, she finally advocated for herself. She says, I hope this message finds you in good spirits. This is 2023, September 23, Instagram message to Aviation Gin. As a dedicated photographer, content creator, seeing Aviation Gin's brand flourish and getting to witness the impact of our collaborative work has been nothing short of amazing. I'm very passionate about gin in more ways than one. While I have truly enjoyed contributing to Aviation Gin's success in the past, I must now prioritize sustainable partnerships that align with supporting me as a business. Okay, so it's this long message here. She wants to discuss potential of a tailored collaboration on a compensation basis. She says, if it's not feasible, I'd be honored if you could consider me for future projects. They responded, of course, Marilyn. And then later in their exchange, they added, coming up on some organic content brainstorms and definitely would be able to work out for a proper paid shoot. Oh my God. Final straw. Plagiarism. Okay, so, I mean, okay, there's plagiarism. She hit her limit again. Apparently she's reaching out to them. And then very obviously she sues them. And then they make it go away. Girl. That's wild. Okay, anyway, I can't even read more of this. Yeah, final straw after 5 years. This is insanity. This is just, it's pure insanity. And at some point, I hate to say it, but you've got to take responsibility for like the shit that you also willingly get into. But it seems like they paid her off, paid her to shut up. But that is wild. So long story short, Ryan is there's a freaking Amber Alert coming through. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. Or not, it's not an Amber Alert. It's they're doing an emergency test system thing. Long story short, Ryan is exactly who you think he is. He's an asshole. He uses people. He has people work for free. He manipulates people, my opinion only, so that he can make more money. And that's all it is. So that he can keep more money in his pocketbook. That's wild. Okay, let's go over this quick. This is, actually, we can go over to, not actually Golden. It's short. I think it's only 4. Yeah, it's only 4 pages. I know not actually Golden posted about this. This is Bryan Freedman, although she says she doesn't think Bryan Freedman wrote it, but that he signed off on it. So let's pull this up and I'll share her.
Hello, I'm at the airport waiting for my plane. Look at all my glasses. I look like just being Melanie from the We Do Not Care Club. And this is why her stuff is so awesome, because this is exactly what we do. Okay, I have a couple minutes, and I was reading through the Freedman response to the supplemental Rule 11 thing that was filed the other day. And it's pretty calm for Freedman. I'm not sure he wrote it. But he definitely signed it. And I think it's a good illustration of why that was a bad idea to file that supplemental document.
Stop.
So he makes a couple of arguments, most of which are procedural, and then he gets to the substantive. So he says procedurally, the way that Rule 11 works is that you get a safe harbor period. So before you file a Rule 11 motion, you have to give the other side notice that you're going to do it. You actually have to send it to them. And you have to give them 21 days to withdraw whatever the pleading is that you're trying to get Rule 11 motions on, so that you're not just asking for Rule 11 sanctions all the time. And he's like, they're bringing up new stuff. This is not what the original motion was based on. The original motion was based on the same grounds as the motion to dismiss, and they can't just keep adding new information, which I think is probably fair. Now, so that's like a due process argument. Sorry, you're seeing people walking through the airport in the background. I don't have to stop that. Okay. He then makes this argument that this is not new information. These depositions were taken late September, early October. That's not a strong argument to me, because everybody knows, and the judge knows. Sorry, announcements lady. That it takes several weeks for deposition transcripts to be produced. So they probably just got the transcripts. So I don't think that timing argument is really a strong one. But then he goes into the substance, and this is what teeing up this issue allowed him to do, right? By bringing this up in that like supplemental motion because somebody had a hissy fit, I fully believe. It allowed them to be like, oh, actually, let us tell you what we found. First of all, this whole argument about Abel and Sarowitz weren't able to articulate the basis for their claims, like, we disagree with that. But you may remember that we said the exact same thing about Blake Lively and her retaliation claims, and you defended it. Right? Remember when it was like, can you point to a specific article or a specific, and she's like, I can't point to one. And her lawyer said that's privileged, which was correct. Because they're like, it's not a client's job to figure out how to plead legal claims. So they kind of, threw their own words back at them. Like, when your client testified, they didn't know the basis, she didn't know the basis for her claims. You said it was attorney-client privilege and you defended it. And guess what? We agree with you now that it's our clients. This is just like typical litigation stuff. Everyone's always turning things on each other. And then, and this is where I think strategically and from a PR standpoint, it probably, all right, we have to closely monitor our baggage. It gives them the opportunity to be like, actually, we found stuff in discovery, and they keep it to Reynolds, which is interesting because that letter was the first thing we've seen from Reynolds in a long time because he's long since been dismissed out of this case. And, I thought, and I think a lot of people were like, why is Ryan Reynolds inserting himself back in this thing? Well, they're like, okay, then let's talk about Ryan Reynolds and the claims against him. We've actually been through discovery and we've discovered more information about the shit that he was doing. It may not rise to the level of legal liability for purposes of the claims that we brought. And again, they have to argue that out. But just because it was dismissed for failure to state a claim does not mean it's sanctionable. They're not the same thing. And it just allows them, now we can't see it because it's sealed for now, but it allows them to show us, the public, oh, actually, we found all kinds of dirt about what Ryan was doing.
Yeah. Can you guys see the theme? Like, he inserts himself in everything, finds a way to insert himself in shit, and then take credit when things go well and blame other people when things don't go well.
So, I don't know if the judge is going to accept it or not. He could say, because remember, it was a motion for leave to file. And then you put the thing in, like, that's how people typically do it. It's like, I have a motion for leave to file this thing that I've gone ahead and attached. So the judge could say, I grant the leave to file. I'll put it in the file and I'll think about it later. Or he could say, I reject this new filing. I'm going to make my decision on those Rule 11 motions if and when they come based on what was briefed before. Or he could say, because you're raising a new issue, which I'm not sure if it is a new issue. I'd have to go back and look at the original Rule 11 motion. But he could say, to the extent that you're raising a new issue, you're raising a new grounds based on new evidence, Mr. Gottlieb, you have to go back and give the Wayfarer parties a 21-day safe harbor period, which is kind of stupid because they're not going to withdraw a complaint that's already been dismissed. So they kind of can't do that, which I think is probably another reason, as I'm thinking through this, could have been another basis. I think he kind of gets to it. He talks about withdrawing, but like, how can I withdraw the offending document when Your Honor has already dismissed it? That's the whole purpose of the safe harbor motion. So in other words, it feels like an ambush.
Did you guys hear those last couple words? It feels like an ambush. That is the type of marketing. That is how Ryan Reynolds works. We just saw that in the article that we went over in detail, because I did not realize how long that article was. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was going to be a couple pages, a couple paragraphs. That was insanity. Thank you for coming on the ride with me. But this is what he does, ambush style. This man, and I hope this bites him in the ass for inserting himself yet again in something. And this is what I think, Not Actually Golden is thinking the same thing I was saying, is he just couldn't help himself. Like, he had to insert himself in this. And to the point, and where I think Ryan messes up, is it's to the point where it's like actually a detriment to him and his brands. He shoots himself in the foot. Oh my gosh. All right. So we will flip back over to let me just see something. Just trying to find something quick. I'll be able to find it quick. That's okay. Let's flip back to the documents. We won't read the whole document, but I want to go to the piece about Sarowitz and Abel, because that's where I think they crashed out. That's where I think Blake and Ryan crashed out, is they couldn't handle that things were unredacted that said their name. They couldn't handle that all of a sudden there was PR. And I made this post on Instagram. Actually, we can pull it up in a minute. Let's do it now, so I'll definitely forget. But I made this post on Instagram yesterday where I said, when you're looking at SEO, like, why is someone making a PR move? Why is someone making a PR move? Oh, shit, I should probably share it. You always want to think of, like, what are they pushing down? So in my opinion, I believe that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were pissed off that their names had come out, and it was, now we had those headlines that were running with Rainn Wilson supporting Justin Baldoni and calling Ryan out for his behavior. We also had that, was it a text or an email that came out where Stephanie Jones had said, it's not surprising that Blake Lively's pulling this type of stuff. And so we were having headlines that were not favorable to them. And so when I look at SEO manipulation, Blake and Ryan, in my opinion, do something called flood the zone quite frequently. I accused them of it earlier this year before they ever accused Justin of it. I'm pretty sure they stole it from me. But anyway, I made this post and I said, okay, we have SEO manipulation, flood the zone. We can see that. That's a video that alleges that Justin Baldoni had said he missed the harassment training. So when you see stories like that on Google and you see a flood the zone, you want to ask, well, what is it pushing down? So that's always what I think of, is what is it pushing down? Back earlier this year, people, I forget what it was around, but people are saying, oh, they're trying to push down Van Zandt. And I said, well, no, SEO manipulation is on Google. It's SEO, search engine optimization. You can't search engine optimize algorithms. And there was nothing trending around Van Zandt. So they hadn't made a move to, like, suppress Van Zandt and SEO. So you want to think of, like, okay, so what were the trending headlines on page 1 to 2 of Google? So the trending headlines on 1 to 2 of Google were these ones around Rainn Wilson supporting Justin Baldoni amid the Blake Lively feud. And it was pretty significant. It was, I would say, at least the first 2 pages. So you had the flood the zone that Blake and Ryan were doing in regards to the bar scene, but then they had a couple of, like, reputation management, reputation laundering type pieces that were thrown in as well. You're going to notice Blake Lively, when she's working on, like, reputation management, when she's getting bad headlines, she tends to do nostalgia marketing. She also steals that from her husband. Ryan is big on nostalgia marketing. Watch any aviation gin ad, anything. I think the Peloton one, I'm pretty sure that he did that blew up, was nostalgia. Pretty much anything he does is nostalgia marketing. He's very popular for it. The Eras Tour is a big example, probably one of the biggest in recent years of nostalgia marketing. So Blake, the way that she does nostalgia marketing, though, is she'll talk about, like, the Spice Girls. And there was, like, a watch or something she shared in her Instagram stories. She'll talk about the 90s. She'll bring up Gossip Girl. She'll bring up Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. So you're going to start to see articles run for more reputation management. They're not flooding, right? It's different. It serves a different purpose. The flooding the zone marketing, you're going to see like 50, 100. For this, you're going to see like a couple strategically placed ones. So we see one, Gossip Girl's Margaret Collin recalls recent run-in with Blake Lively. She talks about how successful Blake is, how nice it was to see her. And then you see this one as well. Ryan Reynolds is a different person when protecting Blake Lively. So we have the flood the zone, we have the reputation management. This all came out, though, in response to this. All of this came out after the documents were unsealed and the transcripts were unsealed on the docket, where we were getting headlines around Rainn Wilson, which is what I've said all along is very smart PR right now, because what you're essentially doing is using a third party to support your narrative. So really smart PR move there. So they did that. And what Blake, in my opinion, Blake and Ryan's teams were trying to do is paint bad Justin versus look how sweet we are. So that was what they were attempting to do with PR. As I say here, expect her to use nostalgia marketing. And I also said, I'm wondering if they're trying to get ahead of something, keep a close eye on Google, because I do think there's something else they're trying to get ahead of. However, all of this was in response to what was released on the docket. And it's my opinion that Blake and Ryan were crashing out, and Ryan just had to insert himself again because he just could not let it go. Because you also had some headlines, which I didn't capture in that picture, but there were some headlines for Ryan Reynolds, which were saying, he berates Justin for 6 hours. Blake and Ryan are the type of narcissists that they couldn't just let it go. They had to hit back. And maybe Justin's team was planning on that. Maybe Justin's team figured they would have to hit back because that's just who they are. And they were expecting Ryan to insert himself again on the docket. That's very possible as well. Blank and Blake. Yeah, it's a blank space in her noggin. There is a blank space up there. You guys are agreeing. I believe Taylor knows a lot more than she's keeping quiet. She'll protect her brand first. I'm not fully convinced. There was a period this year where I thought they weren't friends, but now I'm not fully convinced that they're not friends anymore. And there is a rumor going around Hollywood that they are actually friends still. I feel like at this level, sometimes you're just like, yeah, that's business, whatever. It's fine. You don't have to support me. It happens. But yes, so that is, in my opinion, what led to Ryan inserting himself. Is it's just a narcissist. We saw it even in that Medium article, the 7,000-page article. We are here for 84 years reading that article. He has to insert himself. He had to insert himself in the tweets and the DMs and going back and forth with her. Like, he just had to. It's just who he is. So I don't know. Maybe let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think maybe Justin's team did call his bluff? Maybe they knew this was going to happen. So, okay. So they talk about here, fourth, and no, actually Golden talked about the stuff like the law stuff above. Fourth, the Sarowitz and Abel testimony ignores other evidence uncovered in discovery. So maybe they were kind of setting them up. The more I think about it, maybe they were kind of setting Ryan up. Where they're like, look, we know he's going to have no choice but to respond because that's just who he is. And then it gives us an opportunity to reinsert his name. It gives us an opportunity to be like, hey, look, that's very possible. They could be playing chess and Blake and Ryan are playing checkers with their blank spaces in their heads. So fourth, the Sarowitz and Abel testimony ignores other evidence uncovered in discovery, which demonstrates that, in fact, there are ample evidence to support the defamation claim against Reynolds. A document produced by Lively reflects Reynolds, redacted. Freedman, DECL, does that mean decline? Exhibit A. Reynolds also produced documents in this action pursuant to subpoena. These documents show that, among other things, Reynolds redacted. Reynolds told redacted. Freedman exhibits DF redacted. Freeman exhibits G. Reynolds also remarked to redacted. Exhibit H. The evidence also demonstrates that Reynolds overtly attempted to interfere with Baldoni and Wayfair's relationship with WME. Reynolds redacted on the Wayfair parties. Exhibit I. Emmanuel has since acknowledged responsibility for firing Baldoni from WME. In short, the Wayfair parties' claim against Reynolds were not factually without foundation, but were in truth supported by Reynolds' own written words. I don't know. The more I think about this. Khaleesi, thank you so much. Please uninsert yourself, Ryan. Please. Please see this and uninsert yourself, Ryan. Just leave. Please. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. The two of them. They just can't stop. They just cannot stop. So for the foregoing reasons, Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court strike Lively's letter and accompanying declaration and deny the related motion to seal as moot. If the court does not grant leave to Lively and Reynolds, the Wayfair parties respectfully request that the court grant them leave to file a fulsome substantive response to the letter within 2 weeks. I don't know. The more I think about this, the more I'm wondering, like, did they? No, not even necessarily like set them up, because they had the motion for summary judgment. They knew the stuff would be unsealed or unredacted or whatever. They knew that was coming. So maybe not necessarily like set him up, but they were prepared, I think, for the fact that he wouldn't be able to help but say something. He wouldn't be able to help but insert himself again, which pattern. We just saw that. He can't help it. And then he lies. And this is the thing that pisses me off the most about him and Blake is they insert themselves, they steal things, they manipulate people, they leak things for their own good. They extort people. And when things go well, they take credit. When things go bad, they blame someone else. So when things are going bad with Betty Boos and Betty Buds, well, it's Justin's fault because they retaliated. When the marketing turns south, well, it's Sony's fault. It's not Maximum Effort. It's not Blake Lively. It's not Ryan Reynolds. No. It's Sony's fault. They told us what to do, which always felt to me like they were still blaming Justin. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it always felt like they were still blaming Justin. You know, it was your movie with Sony and Wayfair. It's your fault that I was set up to tank while you talk about DV. I agree. I think, hello, it's so nice to see you. I think John Krasinski and Emily Blunt don't want a part of this. Yeah, weren't they named? I feel like I'm missing part of the conversation going on, but yeah. A jury won't buy their stories in court. Oh my gosh, you know who we have to play about that? Elsie. Actually, okay. We're not going to get to it today because we are already at 2 hours, 5 minutes. We're going to get to it tomorrow though. Yi Zhou, you're not, I'm dealing with this. You're not getting out of me dealing with this shit. Okay. All right. Who's following the Jeremy Renner stuff? We're not going to get into the lawsuit because the lawsuit is 26 pages. And I just don't have it in me to now read 26 pages after reading 700 pages. You're like, just keep going. Let's do a marathon. I love this community. You guys are like, just keep going. Who gives a shit? You know, it's so funny. I've always joked that I love Emily D. Baker's like 8-hour streams. It irritates me when I have to like find something new to listen to if I'm doing barn tours or something and the video is only 20 minutes. All right, so we'll touch on this. I don't know if we'll probably not do the full lawsuit. However, Yi Zhou, so the history with Yi Zhou is, I'm probably mispronouncing it, whatever. It's, you know, I mispronounce everything at this point. It's just to be expected. So I figured out who she was because I saw an article about Jeremy Renner being accused of SH on Google. Like I was just like Googling pop culture news, and I'm not like, Yi Zhou, I know you watch, and I'll tell everyone how I know you watch, but I know you watch. Hey girl, hey. I saw an article. I like Jeremy Renner in Mayor of Kingstown, but it was actually Sheridan that brought me over to Mayor of Kingstown. I'm a big Sheridan fan. And so I've watched that. I'm a Marvel fan, so I've seen him in his roles within Marvel, but I don't like seek out Jeremy Renner. I'm not a fan. I'm not a stan. I'm not a fangirl, anything like that. Hey girl, hey. Everyone say hi. So I saw the article on Google, which made me, I was like, who is this person? Like I legit had no idea who she was. So I then searched on Instagram to figure out who she was. And then I saw her crashing out on Instagram. Like we're talking like hundreds of posts crashing out. Very clearly undercover pictures being taken. Just like a weird situation. Yeah, Mayor of Kingstown is so good. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, she blocked me. Yeah. So I made a reel, and basically what it wasn't even bad. The reel was just, this is bad PR. Like I wasn't being rude. I wasn't being anything. I said, this is bad PR. Crashing out on Instagram is not the way to go about this. There's no official lawsuit that she's launched against him. So I said, this is just the wrong way to go about it. She started responding to my messages and like my content. So she would comment in my content, and then she would create content in response to my content and then come back to my content and put the link so that I would go see her content, which was a response to my content. It was wild. All right. I've never experienced, like I've known Blake and Ryan watch my shit. They've put me in hit pieces. They've subpoenaed me, but I've never experienced something like this. So she was going back and forth with me. And then I can't remember. Oh, no, I do know why she blocked me. So she started promoting the movie with Renner as the main star. And so I go to my Instagram stories with a screenshot of it and I say, that's a bold move, slandering your star of the movie and then promoting the film. Like, you have hundreds of posts on her Instagram of her trashing him, and then a post her promoting the movie with him listed as main star. And so I said, that's a bold move. And then in the next Instagram story, I shared a clip from Dodgeball. Who's seen Dodgeball? And there's a clip in it where they say that this is a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out, or something along that. So in the next Instagram story, I had that. That is where I got blocked. That is when I got blocked. And then within 12 hours, she goes to TMZ and says there was a deal. We reached a deal. There's this piece. Everything's fine. 2 hours later, Jeremy Renner's lawyer reaches out. 2 hours later, if TMZ had just given them a few hours, which we know damn well TMZ doesn't. If TMZ had just given them a few hours, they would have had a proper story to run with. But I don't think TMZ cares about that. They want to move fast. They don't care about the truth. They're basically the Inquirer. So there's a correction. And Jeremy Renner's team is basically like, I don't know where she got this idea, but there's no deal. So she's continuing to crash out. There's also, she went to a John Candy. I don't have that pic. Oh no, I think I have that in my Instagram stories, or maybe not. But she went to a John Candy thing. She's starting to tag Ryan and Blake and everything. So this gets sent to me by many people. So no, Yi Zhou, because when you block someone on Instagram, I can't see anything. Like, it'll block on how Instagram works is it blocks any account that's created from the same IP address. So, but this kept getting sent to me. So her newest thing is she's aligning herself with Blake Lively. So she says, when I first read the Lively Baldoni smear campaign debate, I was reluctant to believe that kind of storytelling. After being relentlessly attacked by fan setup smear campaigns in my own situation, I had made 2 reels and 1 Instagram story about her. Now I understand how information gets leaked, twisted, and, oh, damn it, I put a thing over it. Leaked, twisted, whatever. Okay, but this is how I know she's going on about me. Because this post was right after my video where I was talking about Blake, Ryan, and Ari Emanuel. So she goes, and now I'm being bullied by some of the Blake Lively, Van City Reynolds, Ari Emanuel hater accounts. I had literally just done my video on Blake, Ryan, and Ari. Like, just finished it. So she says, now she's being bullied by Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Ari Emanuel hater accounts. I was not being bullied, or I was not bullying her. I said, bad news bears. This is not how you do PR. And actually, when I responded to her comment, I said, look, if what happened, then good for you bringing this to light. And I said, but I'm hoping you bring it to court and get success in court, not on Instagram. I was very kind to her. Well, and that's the thing too. She blasted all of her business on Instagram. Like, girl, if you post all your shit on Instagram, you have to be prepared that people are going to have different views on what's going on. So she says, so hater accounts. So this is about me with anything meritless, baseless, and false claims they hate on. I mean, the lawsuit against Ari Emanuel, which he settled for SH, where he also is quoted as saying he would not give Wesley Snipes a movie because it's stupid, as he says, quote, everyone knows blacks can't swim. That's not meritless. That's not baseless. That is literally in a lawsuit, all right, that he settled. So she says, do we deserve this? I'm not taking any side in any dispute, but the aggregation of the same type of hater accounts does not feel coincidental. The same angles, the same sentences, the same jargon, because it's PR, lady. Yeah, even Annie's like, yeah, bitch. I'm not like Ryan Reynolds and this Adrian guy for Aviation Gin, where I pretend words are my own and I made them up. I use PR words. All right. So same jargon because it's PR. The same hashtags, the same timing. What hashtags are the same? For your content, I use hashtag Jeremy Renner and pop culture. For Blake, I use hashtag Blake, hashtag Justin Baldoni, hashtag it ends with us, and hashtag pop culture. She says, this is the Hollywood smear campaign machine. If you're not inside it, it's hard to understand the sneaky infiltration meant to trash, bully, and rewrite the narrative. I'm sharing these experiences proudly so those who might be affected or will be affected can understand the dynamics. To the people spending hours making hate shows without any proof, I wish you can live a real life of your own. So this is directed at me. Take a walk, do something for the ones you can help. Look inward yourself rather than attacking for the sake of virality and sensationalism using our names and stories. This is wild. Yeah. I guess I'm a part of Hollywood now, I guess. I mean, it's just wild. Yeah, Jeremy Renner is such a better actor than Ryan Reynolds, 100%. So this is what came out. And then I posted what seems to be escaping her and Blake Lively is that they are the Hollywood smear campaign. They are. So I made this post. We'll circle back to LZ. I'll make a note because I'll definitely forget. I just thought her reel was hilarious. So we'll have to watch it and laugh together. And then Yi Zhou can make a post about me later. Okay, so I make this post. I genuinely believe if you're aligning yourself with Blake, maybe do slight due diligence. Look at the sentiment just slightly because you might find that this is not the person you want to be aligning yourself with, Blake and Ryan. Actually, you've made it. You know, it's okay. I just have to say, when I took 2 weeks off, I was like, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to test it out. You know, my nervous system's feeling better after everything. I'm just going to test it out, take it easy, stay out of trouble. Y'all, it was within 3 days that I had myself in trouble again. How? 3 days. 3 days. That's got to be record timing. So I'll show you briefly the lawsuit, but we will go over it tomorrow. Because again, we're already at like 2.5 hours and I'm starting to get hangry. I'll show you the lawsuit to set it up for tomorrow. Okay. So here's the thing. What I believe she might be missing is that the cream comes to the top. What's the saying? I don't fucking know. The bubbles come to the top, whatever. Shit comes to the top with internet sleuths, with the mommy sleuths. All right. Shit comes to the top. Obviously, she wasn't paying much attention in the whole Blake Lively thing because I've had people send me this today. And I've been tagged in it a couple times and it was sent to me. Someone emailed it to me. This is public, Yi Zhou. So no, this isn't some kind of weird like thing that I found that was private. I don't know if you are aware, but this is available to the internet. Cream rises to the top. Thank you. Spintriarch. Oh, what is he going on about now? I think I blocked him on everything except this, although I'm sure he has sock puppet accounts I've blocked. So this has come out and it's been sent to me with people wanting me to bring this to light and deal with this. Superior Court for the State of California, County of Los Angeles. It's Anthony Simone against Yi Zhou, an individual, her studio LLC, a California limited liability company, and does 1 through 25. The plaintiff's complaint for damages, declaratory relief and injunctive relief, 1 for SH in violation of FEHA. Number 2, SH in violation of Civil Code 51.9. Number 3, failure to prevent harassment. Number 4, retaliation. Number 5, wrongful termination in violation of public policy. Number 6, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Number 7, negligent infliction of emotional distress. Number 8, declaratory relief. Number 9, injunctive relief. 10, slander. 11, libel. And some of the concerns I've had from people, again, not on his team. I don't need a subpoena saying that I'm part of Renner's team, but people in the industry is, why can't legacy media figure this shit out? Like, why can't legacy media find this shit? So this happened. And let's just do the introduction and then we will go over the full thing tomorrow. And the funny thing is, guys, what I think a lot, and this is what I've said over and over again, stop responding. Stop putting out statements. Like, just keep your mouth shut. Like, file a lawsuit, deal with it in the court of law. This approach to PR is horrible. Why? It's the Streisand effect. Because I would have never found this. I wasn't even going to, I searched to see if there was anything new in regards to, so yesterday evening, Jeremy Renner, if he was taking any new steps. He was very smart. He made one statement because in PR, for those that are new to the channel, I have 15 years of experience in branding, marketing, and PR. There's like a hierarchy, right? And I have a self-paced course. All brands need PR, not just celebrities. Every single brand needs it and needs to understand it from day one. So there's a hierarchy, and obviously it rose to a level cost benefit for Renner to make a statement. So he made a statement with his lawyers basically saying, this is a lie, and we're prepared and ready to launch a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against her. But she's crashing out still, and it's getting worse, and it's drawing more attention. Had she not called me out, I would have not made a post about it. And had I not made a post about it, the people that contacted me probably never would have contacted me. And this is the problem people are not realizing in PR these days and in how you approach social media these days. You can't just crash out like this. The only reason the people that contacted me is because I posted on how she blocked me and how she was saying I need to like basically go touch grass and everything. It's wild. So the introduction, defendant Yi Zhou repeatedly demanded schmexmal services from plaintiff Anthony Simone, who was a personal trainer and was employed by Equinox. Zhou, her company, Yi Zhou Studios LLC, hired Simone both directly through Equinox and by directly contracting with him. Zhou sent hundreds of provocative text messages to Simone in which she insisted that Simone serve as her F buddy. Simone repeatedly rejected her advances. In retaliation for rejecting her advances, Zhou fired Simone as her personal trainer. She later rehired him, but she continued to SH him and insists that he sleep with her. The final straw occurred when Simone told Zhou that he had a girlfriend. This infuriated Zhou. Zhou told Simone in writing that she was firing him as her trainer because she was sleeping with somebody else. I mean, I was a personal trainer for a long time. This stuff didn't, what? Sorry, I have to fire you as my personal trainer because I'm sleeping with somebody else. I was in that industry for a long ass time. Is she bi? No. Well, Anthony Simone. Anthony Simone. I'm imagining is a guy. Zhou also told Simone again in writing that she will have him fired for the same reason. Like, I spend a lot of time in this industry. I don't know when you hire someone or fire them based on if you're sleeping with them or not. This is wild. I mean, not saying that weird shit didn't go down in the personal training industry, but Zhou then called and wrote to Equinox and fabricated a story that Simone had sexual SH. Damn it. I just always mess up on the live streams. SH term. The suggestion that Simone had SH Zhou was false and defamatory. To the contrary, Zhou was the perpetrator and she had repeatedly subjected Simone to the harassing and abusive behavior. These lies, however, caused Simone to lose his job at Equinox. Unfortunately for Zhou, her behavior is well documented in the hundreds of pages of text messages between the parties. This action seeks to hold Zhou and her company accountable for their SH retaliation and defamatory conduct. So we are going to break that down tomorrow because I want to actually do it justice and go into the details of it. I mean, it's just wild. It's just wild. So this is the same person that's accusing Renner of sending her explicit text messages. But again, when you look at the timeline, she admitted to TMZ that they were in love at that time. And that she was she said she was upset because he didn't feel the same way, that he didn't see them as serious. So if you look at the timeline, in my opinion, although she made a post in response to me saying, if you look at the timeline, she then accused him of grooming her. Okay. So accused him of grooming her after I said the timeline doesn't match up. Girlfriend's like asking for a massive lawsuit, not just because of the misuse of his image and likeness in AI, but because of everything else. Like she is just clearly really wanting to be in a lawsuit with Jeremy Renner. Maybe she really wants his attention again. I don't know. But for me, as an outsider looking in, and this is why you don't crash out on Instagram, as an outsider looking in, I've said all along, hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong. It looked like someone that was scorned, pissed off as the details came out, as she kept talking, that she was rejected by him. That in her words, I thought we were in love and he just wanted to fling. So those images, from what you can see online, it appears were sent when she thought they were in love, but she's changing it to be he groomed me. And I'm not saying that someone that hasn't done this shit in the past can't also be a victim. That's not what I'm getting at. It's just interesting that the exact same situation seems to be happening here. And again, I'm not saying she wasn't, that it's not all true. I don't know. But it's just really bizarre. So it turns out she was rejected. She even, it appears, ran to the Daily Mail because they had an exclusive. So remember, that has to come from somebody. So she ran to the Daily Mail with a headline saying, Jeremy Renner's in love again. That was just October of this year. So she planted a story in the Daily Mail that they were in love again. She was taking a bunch of pictures. I can't pull it up for you because I'm not on, I'm blocked. But I've shown them previously, undercover pictures where he clearly doesn't know she's taking a bunch of pictures of his house. Yeah, I'd be like to the curb too if I were him. She's 38. Yeah. I was going to say, does anyone know how old she is? Exactly. Yeah. And that's what it looks like. Rejected and has to file SH. And that's why you don't crash out on the internet because, pattern alert. That's what I'm saying. Jeremy Renner in a spooky season era. It's just wild. All right. So let's pull up. So we're going to go into that more tomorrow. We'll go into the lawsuit more tomorrow. I'm going to, and that gives me time overnight tonight to see what else is publicly available, Yi Zhou. It's all publicly available. I'm going to see what else I can find in regards to this. But we do have at least that document to go through. But let's look at, I was just dying with Elzie's post. So I think we just have to have a good laugh. Watch Elsie before we go. So I was howling. I made my husband watch this reel. Yeah, Blake is giving her advice, and you do not want to be getting advice from Blake. All right. Wouldn't Daily Mail contact Renner before publishing? Well, wouldn't TMZ contact? No one waits anymore. That's the whole point, right? No one waits anymore. They run a story. And maybe he didn't even know that the story was run. It didn't go anywhere, right? It was just Daily Mail. And you have to be careful, right? And we've talked about this previously on the channel, when you have a PR rep that's reaching out to correct stories, you don't want to be the person that's always trying to correct everything. It just looks bad. And that's what Sydney Sweeney's kind of coming under attack for right now. Not her personally, but her PR rep, because they reached out to Barstool Sports or whatever it is, Barstool something. And we're like, hey, girl, hey, can you change this? Can you edit your article? And they took the screenshots and put it on X. And it's not that reps don't reach out and be like, hey, can you adjust this? Hey, can you change this? But that's what I'm getting at, when you have to be careful on burning those bridges or crossing lines of asking for things to be edited or changed or anything like that. Honestly, I think it would have been worse for Renner PR wise to reach out to the Daily Mail and be like, hey, can you add an edit to this, and just letting it go. And he probably dealt with it privately. That's probably the argument that she's crying about, right? Where she says there was an argument and I don't know, she locked herself in a bathroom or something. I don't know. But apparently he was pissed at her. Maybe it's because he caught her. This is speculation alert. I don't know. But hey, she's put it out there. So, you start to look at what pattern's going on. So maybe he saw that article in the Daily Mail. He got upset, figured out she was taking these undercover pictures all over his house, got upset, and they got into an argument. Actually attacking with facts. ABE attacking with facts. Some people don't like facts. Blake does not like facts. Okay, I think it's this one. Let's pull it up, have a good laugh, and then I gotta let you guys go. I need lunch. I'm starving.
Apologize to Blake Lively because I'm realizing today, November 18, 2025, my mistake this whole time has been defending Justin Baldoni, when in fact I should have been taking the time to knock some fucking sense into this one. She's the one that need her shit wrong. The lights been on. Just ain't nobody home. It's a fucking model home. People just coming in and out there to tour. Ain't nobody live there. Explain to me how you sanctioned Jamie Heath to produce his wife's birth videos, the ones you've seen and haven't seen, because you claim there's something in there that's going to prove your SH. The same birth video that you walked up to that man, I was like, hey, Jamie, you know, when you walked up to me and showed me that video, I thought you were showing me corn. I know it wasn't, but it startled me. And he was like, damn, I'm sorry. No. Because your character is going to give birth in the movie, and we were trying to find a way for her to give birth other than the typical hospital scene. And Jamie, being the man he is, so he thought, oh, let me actually show you one of the most sacred videos I have, which is my wife, Natasha, giving birth to one of our kids, and see if that's something you would want to take on in the movie. You know, because you're an actress, right? And you act. So when your director and your producer come up with a scene for you to act out, you just fucking do that shit, right? That's what you're supposed to do. But no, we know you don't do that, because you like to, what was it again? Yeah, you like to go on projects and say you want to be there as an actor. And then as soon as you get the job, you like to, what was it again? Pull the fucking rug up out of them motherfuckers. Somehow we're in November of 2025 and you are still beating that horse, trying to claim that this man SH'd you by showing you said birth video. The same birth video that you already told him you knew it wasn't corn. He didn't even pull off like a random video of YouTube where you can even say it could be that. He showed you his own wife's video. Now, why you got the video and Jamie has to pay you attorney's fees? I love the fact that the judge played your ass, because he allowed Jamie to go in front of the jury and tell his side of the story. And Blake, don't say I've never done anything for you, because hear me and hear me good. You need to let this birth video shit go. Your lawyers and all their wisdom may not be telling you, but you roll up on a fucking jury of the regular common class of people and you tell them this woman, who works quite literally to help women through the birth process, you got to see a millisecond of her birth video and you decided, ew, corn. Bitch, I fucking dare you to roll up on that jury in New York and play with them like this. I've always known you were not bright. I just didn't know you were this fucking dim either. Oh, and this is in New York? Yeah, they're gonna hit you with it. Are you dumb? You know the Remy Ma, are you dumb? Yeah, they're gonna hit you with that shit quick. I dare you. Go have yourself whatever fucking day you deserve.
I love LZ. That video just killed me. The model home, people walking in and out, no one's there. It's so true. All right, my friends, 2.5 hours. Man, I was planning on an hour. I don't know how to talk in under an hour. Same time, same place. I will see you guys tomorrow. We will go over the lawsuit. Like I said, it gives me a chance tonight to look into any other details that I can find publicly. Renner's not sending me anything. I'm not part of Renner's team. I'm not a stan. I'm not a fangirl. I'm not part of a smear campaign. Nothing. All right, none of that. Cheerio. So nice to see you guys. So I will see you guys tomorrow. We will go over that and any new updates in the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni case. All right, my friends. Thank you, mods. You rock. You're the best. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.